Welcome back to Sic'Em365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with
TJ Pledger has joined Ramon Stevenson. Look at that pressure. And down goes Rattler again. And Josh Landry, 92, coming in there to make the play.
Sic'Em365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Brewer. Looking for room on the opposite side. He's got his receiver. Touchdown. It's Snead. It's number 9, Taquan Thornton. I beg your pardon on the reception.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
We didn't have enough poise and composure and experience to win today. But it wasn't a blowout. It wasn't anything like that. It was a game that I won't tell you fans enjoyed watching it, but I'm sure it kept everybody's attention because it was a close game.
Now here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Well, good afternoon. Welcome to this new week, another week in December. And Craig, am I right? This is like the 100 and how many? 175, is that right?
175 what?
Episodes.
Yeah, I think it's 175 today.
Okay, I'll get to that in just a second. On local high school football, we'll get to the teams that are still alive, and there's not many. I mean, there were some that were knocked out over the weekend. We'll look at the statewide high school playoffs and who's left and where they're playing. Also, we'll have, in fact, a broadcast on Saturday. Riker is playing St. Paul out of Shiner for the TAPS Division IV state championship. The other games, other schools are in their semifinal round, and the 5As and 6As start their by-district round, in fact, starting this week. Now, a couple of notes about Baylor. Dave Aranda today met with the media, the Big 12 teleconference, and also had the media presser today after that. I had a chance to visit with him, and we'll have that today at 4 o'clock. Treston Ebner and Ben Sims, who went out in the game against Oklahoma, are midweek, probably at the earliest they'll know, but it didn't look promising. John Lovett, doubtful. And then he was also not able to play against Oklahoma. And then Quaylen Jones, Dave Aranda saying he's hopeful. It looks promising that he has a chance to be able to play. One other roster note, Logan Compton's father posted on Sic'Em365.com that he and his wife and Logan met with Dave Aranda yesterday. I guess it was at some point. And Logan Compton, it will not be coming back to play football at Baylor following this semester. We've got some comments about many things, including wanting to hear from you at 254-339-1122. So the depth, they were at what would be, and I like what I saw from Jonah White. Is he like the 5th and 6th or 6th string running back, or does it matter after that?
I don't think it matters.
He was good, though. I liked what I saw from him.
I mean, yeah, Oklahoma was playing a bit of prevent defense, you know. I mean, you got to take into account what they were doing. But, no, Jonah White, you know, showed an ability to catch the football out of the backfield. He showed ability to get upfield, showed some speed. And I liked what I saw from him. You know, I don't know if that's something that he's capable of doing week in and week out, but if he is, and I think they've got a little something there. I think they've seen a little something from Quaylen Jones. Mm-hmm. And I just wish Squirrel was healthy. Like, that's such a bummer, man. That is such a bummer that young man is not healthy, because he was the one running back this entire year that actually made them run the football, that actually made them look like they could run the football. And once he went out, it was right back to normal. But Jonah White did an admirable job. And, no, he's the dead last running back on the depth chart, basically. That's why you saw a walk-on playing a large portion of the fourth quarter, Jacoby Clark, because they literally had no scholarship running backs available.
Speaking of the running game, one point I think I saw where I looked at the stats, I was just curious. They had 12 carries for -3 yards. Charlie Brewer is not the quarterback you want to throw the ball 56 times in a game. That doesn't mean he hasn't had games like that, but when you're having to throw it, of course, there's about the last 15 or 20. It was kind of the down the field, that long drive. They finally scored, and then also trying to just keep throwing the ball to find a way to get back in it. The defense, I thought, was absolutely. We'll hear from Dave Aranda on the offensive line and the running game because I asked him that in the post game. He was asked about that again today. I don't know. I thought the defense looked like it was last year.
Well, I want to talk about the running game real quick, if you don't mind. 25 yards. 25 rushing yards is what they ended up with on Saturday.
How many carries?
26.
Yeah, and then some of that's, even if you do say, okay, well, that's some of that sack yardage.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that was Brewer. So really, you take Brewer out, right? And it's kind of hard because some carries, he is designed to run the ball, and then some is him taking off. And so Brewer is half those. Brewer is 13 of your 26 carries on Saturday night. So without your quarterback, you ran the ball 13 times. And granted, look, they had nobody available. But Jonah White was your leading rusher. 3 carries, 18 yards. His long was 17 yards.
Yeah, so the other two were for -1.
It doesn't, what does it matter who's available at running back when the good ones can't even, when the starters can't even get going? I wrote this and I don't know when the Weekend in Review column is going to debut on the site this week, but in my Weekend in Review column, I don't want to hear another criticism of the offense of Larry Fedora or Charlie Brewer that doesn't start with, admittedly, the offensive line is a waterfall of crap right now. Because that's really what it is. It's so bad, and they're so banged up, and they have no depth. And so there's not a quarterback that's lived on this earth that has ever had that could ever deal with the offensive line as bad as it is playing right now. So yes, there are valid critiques of Larry Fedora's play calling. There are valid critiques of some of the things that Charlie Brewer is doing, or can't do. But they fall under the gigantic umbrella of they're limited to probably about 10% of their playbook that works in spite of the offensive line playing as bad as it has.
If you were to make a chart of what everything stems off of, all of your complaints on the offensive side all go back to the same main issue.
Yes.
Jonah White had 3 for 18. He had a 17-yard carry amongst those 18 yards. Tay McWilliams was clearly not healthy. That's why he only got 1 carry. He did get 4 yards on that 1 carry. Charlie, for his 13 rushes, had 1 yard. Treston Ebner, 7 carries for a yard because clearly he lost yardage and then he got hurt. And then Josh Fleeks had a couple for a yard. So, they ended up with, if you subtract Charlie Brewer, who only had a yard total, they had, 13 carries for 24 yards.
But in this offense, he's almost and it doesn't make any sense. Charlie's very good about his instinctive ability to get away and some of the quarterback draws or whatever, and sometimes running for his life. But it's as if they're running him in this offense the way Sam Ehlinger is used at Texas. And they finally, by the way, unleashed the running backs in their rout of Kansas State. That's another story because they may not be playing this week against Kansas. Brian Davis will join us on the COVID, on Tom Herman. And I'm going to ask him a question. I'll let you either. It's interesting how this Urban Meyer love fest, never once did I see anyone write a column questioning the background or the integrity of Urban Meyer, like UT and a lot of Austin media like to do when it comes to other coaches and other programs.
Well,
we'll get into that at 5:30.
Yeah, their fan base very excited when somebody else screws up. And, loves
was all of Urban Meyer's we'll do that at 5:30 because let's focus on what we need to do right now. But that's something I think a lot of people would probably agree. I did text a former offensive lineman because I said, listen, I want to make sure I hear it from somebody that played the game. And I shared this with both of you. And I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but I said, I just need, like Jack Nicholson, you can't handle the truth, right? That's what I need. And his response was, I love the guys, but they have some good players, but as a unit, it's pretty bad. Whenever your quarterback is the leading rusher and carries attempts for the season, it's not good, and he was doing what he could when he was playing. We have too many athletes, and we can't get them the opportunity because we have no running game. Honestly, we screwed up Charlie's pocket presence by letting him get creamed the way he did, and he's gun shy because of what happened during 2017. Now, I've said that before. We've suggested that before. And I bet Charlie, and I asked him the question in the post game about, how is he handling this? I would ask anybody that. R.J. Sneed, whoever, Abram Smith, Jalen Petrie. It sucks. But that was from an offensive lineman, a former 3-year starter at offensive line, just asking him to kind of look at the offensive line. Here's Dave Aranda. When he was asked earlier today on a couple of different occasions about the run blocking and also about his offensive line and what do they have in the future with what they have on the roster and what's coming in.
Yeah, I think we do like our personnel. I think we've got to get bigger and stronger in that, and that's going to come. I think, like everybody, all of that was interrupted with COVID. I think the ability to build depth, I think, is a key piece. There's not a lot of depth. There's not a lot of competition at spots, and so I think the ability to bring depth so you can withstand injury. There's quite a bit of this guy's starting here, but he's the backup there, and he's also the backup here, and there's a lot of this moving on. And you like to have it to where I'm playing here and I'm backed up by a guy that's challenging my butt every day, and so I got to be on it because he's breathing down my neck. And then down the line with the 4 other slots, same thing. And so we've got to build it to that. And I think another year in that system, understanding kind of the what ifs and understanding the also ands, I think are really key there, because that's such a big piece. That's the glue, really. I think we'll be better.
All right, so that's Dave Aranda today. He answered questions about the offensive line in the post game, the running game, and also in the Big 12 teleconference, and also today in his media session. And I asked him about, is that the group that probably suffered the most because of the lack of spring drills? Is that the one position group that needs that more than any other, even the wide receivers, quarterbacks being on the same page or anything else?
But it's more than spring drills.
No, it is.
Yeah,
it is. That's one of the questions, and he got deeper into it.
Yeah, like it's so much more than just not having spring drills, because they've had spring drills the last 3 years, and the offensive line's still been problematic. But this year, I think it just made it 10 times worse. But I did want to say that, I don't want to make this, especially on offense, all about one guy in particular, and that's Charlie and how it affects him and all that, because it does affect everybody else in a massive way. And that running game is clearly the biggest issue of all issues, because it just doesn't allow you to do anything. And it's so predictable. I mean, Oklahoma knew exactly what Baylor was going to try and do on given downs based on the yardage, and knowing that Baylor couldn't really run the football. And so they could dial up the pressure. But I will say, you started off talking about the Baylor defense, and that's where I get excited already for next year. Yep. Now, here's the key to this whole next couple weeks, folks, is who's still on this team in a couple weeks. Because we can talk right now about, hey, this guy next year on defense, you look and they got like 9 guys back. But are those guys going to even be here? And that's what's going to be curious. And really, we're going to have to see that before we can preview. But the Oklahoma running game, 76 yards rushing on 31 carries.
That's a damn good thing.
Would you have taken that going into Saturday? Yeah. I know I would have.
Especially the Banger and Stevenson, at least they were able to throw the ball, although they made Rattler look like a freshman.
They did.
Yeah.
If you're going to beat Oklahoma, holding them to 27 points is how you have to do it.
Well,
I mean, that's a lofty goal. And I'll say this, the college football offseason, the college basketball offseason is already like this. But you know how NBA free agency, sometimes you'll pick it up and be like, wait, 8 guys just signed with the Heat today? How did that happen? That's what college football is going to look like this offseason.
You're going to get some, and you're going to lose some. Oklahoma's 27 points. That's the least amount they've scored in a game since 2016. 269 yards the last time they had fewer, I believe, might have been against Dave Aranda in the bowl game against LSU, or the college football playoff. That's also 269. That's the lowest yardage output in 5 years for Oklahoma. They really looked like last year's team, the way they stuffed the inside. It's great to see Landry and others that were they were creating problems for Oklahoma, and they were coming from different directions, and they absolutely had them tied up as well. That's why a field goal early, a pick that you might be able to go the other distance, or just something offensively earlier in the middle or whatever, and the next thing you know, who knows? Who knows what might happen? Although Oklahoma does win the game, they end up winning 27-14.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small moral victory, if anything, just the way you played on defense. It doesn't make up for the outcome. It doesn't make up for, the same problems plaguing you. And that's just something that's going to have to get into the offseason to get corrected. But this offseason is going to be freaking wild, man, because everybody's free to transfer. Everybody's free to come back. So, I mean, it's going to be nuts, and there's going to be a lot of teams that I think will look a lot different. And for every guy that you pick up, you might lose a guy like you were saying. You might pick up some stud wide receiver from the Big Ten or something, but you also might lose your stud wide receiver to Oklahoma State or something. I mean, that's what's going to be bizarre about this whole thing. But I thought the defense really set the tone early on. And how about the fact that I don't think anybody's forgotten about him, but when Clay Johnston went down, everybody worried about it, rightfully so. And here comes this guy named Terrell Bernard, who's just a freak show of an athlete. Terrell Bernard goes down, and I was not nearly as optimistic about the prospects of Abram Smith and others. And Abram Smith has played pretty dadgum well. He has played pretty dadgum well given the small amount of playing time he's had there and given just being sort of thrust into the position. That was a bright spot as well.
Yeah, Dave Aranda was asked about him today, and he said he's really proud of him. It wasn't easy for him, that he had to kind of, it's been hard. It's been hard, but he's gotten to the point now where he's playing very comfortable. Now, you mentioned one of the biggest problems. By the way, a Baylor game with Nicholls State, we know the men's basketball game canceled. Scott Drew will have comments from him in just a second about playing anybody wherever they can this week, especially if they want to play at home, because they opened up conference against a much improved Texas team that took Villanova down to the wire at home and obviously beat North Carolina. The other thing last night, the Lady Bears lost to Arkansas. They look kind of out of sorts, and we'll hear from Kim Mulkey in a question I asked for her last night in the postgame of her. We'll have that today as well. Many things to get to. Phil Bennett at 5, Dave Aranda at 4 o'clock. So I did ask Dave Aranda about, Craig, you had sent me an email. The class they sign in a couple of weeks is important. That's part of your future, right? But what about those who are on your roster? So this is what, 254-339-1122. We'll come back with your calls or texts. But here is my question to Coach Aranda about, yes, you've got a new class you're signing, but what about the ones you have to keep?
National Signing Day is coming up, and I know you can't comment about anybody until they sign, but are you also as much recruiting within your own roster right now with the way things are so easy for players to leave or get disgruntled or get tired or just they're worn out? Is that as much your recruitment process as anything else of anybody new coming to Baylor?
Well, I see I understand your question. I wouldn't look at it as a recruiting. I would look at it as investing in our people and getting to know your people and not trying to, not asking them to come to where I'm at. I'm gonna go to where they're at and meet them there and help them get to where, this is where you're at now, but this is how I see you. These are the positives that you bring. These are the things that we can build on. Here's the things we can work on, and we can get you there, man, and build the person. I think when you build a person, in that process, you're building a relationship, and I think throughout that, you can build the player. And so I would see it like that, and it's been that way throughout. I think whether it was phone calls during the quarantine or just, I think there's been more one-on-ones, which I always appreciate, and just having guys here in the office and talking about things that they are going through and things that they are fighting and things that are holding them back, and then really working on ways that we can fight that. And I feel like when you do that, I think you're getting a look under the hood. And I think for players, I think that's the way to go about it, because I think if you're not doing that, you're looking at outside and the frustrations that come in life. It's really easy to point the finger. And so I think for us to always work on yourself and what can I do better and how can I be a better person, I feel like that's the process there.
And so that's part of the interview. We'll hear all of it at 4 o'clock today. I also asked him about, and you may snicker, that's fine. They're 2-6. They have a game left, correct? They can end up 2-7 or 3-6. Because there are bowl games that to be played, and there are some teams that might be bowl eligible that say, no, we don't want to play. And there may be a bowl game that, for whatever reason,
K-State right now.
Yeah, because they're out of. I mean, you talk about a team that's decimated, and Texas just crushed them a week after that game went down to the wire, and their running game was the main reason.
Well, and now they've turned around and they've had to shut down practices.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's the latest. And so did the Gonzaga men's basketball team again for a little bit. We'll have Scott Drew here in a second. So let's just say there's a bowl that just can't fill it. There's a lot of them. Some of them are canceling. But let's say there's a bowl and there's an opening. And they contact Mack Rhodes, or they say, hey, we got this game against, let's say, 5-4 whoever. Are you guys interested? And I asked Dave Aranda that, and it's going to be a part of the 4 o'clock interview. And I didn't know what he was going to say. I had no idea. His answer made so much sense, I felt bad about asking it because it kind of summarizes this entire 11-plus months. 12 months of 2020.
You know, Mac Rhodes told us a couple weeks ago that he would kind of maybe put it up on, like, if the players wanted to do it, then but they would, you know, a lot of times players wouldn't really get that option. And, of course, they're going to want to. But this is one of those years where you might not want to. And then
and his answer kind of, for a lot of you frustrated, his answer really summarizes everything within that program.
You also have intersecting issues of what we just talked about.
Yes,
and that,
guys coming and going.
If you're going to opt out, if you've already decided that you're going to opt out, but you're going to play this last game, and then they say, hey, do you want to go to the Armed Forces Bowl? They're like, no. I'm on my next thing. Yeah. So if you have 10 guys that do that, you're already like, I would just say every roster, just count 10 guys that weren't there early throughout the country. You got 10 guys that aren't going to be there for a bowl game.
Everybody. 115.
So just say our baseline number is 10. And some of that is probably 30 when it gets down to the end of the season.
It's kind of like ideal MRI. The average MRI is 1,100, which means there's some that are 2,000 or 2,500.
So,
right?
Our baseline is 10 guys. So if you just have 10 guys, and then you have, of those 10 you're already missing, say 6 more say, no, I'm going to play that 16, you might want, that's enough to cancel a game for COVID. So why would you go ahead with a bowl game? And then you're going to see some teams, like I said, there's going to be 30 people gone.
They're gutted. And in some cases, it might not be a bad thing. Now, you don't want to lose a third of your roster, but you or your scholarship, but you get the point. 254-339-1122 here. Scott Drew in just a second, but let's get to a couple of the texts and then the calls. Matt, I look forward to 2021 with this defense and improved offense. I love how every freshman that has played has shown the ability to make plays, and the moment wasn't too big for them. They stepped up and did what they could. Daniel, I didn't like the whole Zeno or Bohannon stuff earlier in the year, still don't, but if the game is out of hand in the second half of the game against Oklahoma State, if you were the coach, would you take a look at your younger guys? I thought that in the mop-up time that there was an opportunity there. In fact, by the way, I hope everyone was looking that when Charlie took the hit, did you see who was warming up at quarterback?
Right?
It was Gary Bohannon. Yeah. That doesn't mean the others are. I mean, again, we know how talented they are, what they are, but there's still something there that's missing.
Well,
but that was something I even thought about that the last drive of the game, not the scoring drive, but the last drive of the game.
If you've enjoyed the Zeno Bohannon Brewer talk, I hope you've really enjoyed it. You've got one more week to talk about it because I think it's going to change after Saturday.
Yeah.
I think for one, Charlie's going to either stay or he's going to go. So there's one thing that's going to either, remain the same or leave. And then I absolutely think there's a very good probability that one or two quarterbacks decides, you know what, this isn't the spot for me. I mean, look at the way this has gone. Like, look at all of the opportunities you could have put somebody else in there, and then you did not. So I see both sides of it. And there were times when people were calling for Charlie to exit early, only for him to lead the comeback late in the game, And so I just think there's just this feel of just something's not quite right with this roster that's going to have to get tweaked. And I think, just all the kind of discussion about the quarterback position is something they need to kind of figure out. It
was amazing on Saturday night. I put up the stat at one point. You talked about the rushing yards, and we've discussed the running game or lack of it. I put up a stat that said 12 carries for -3 yards. And immediately some of Armstrong's pack of wolves start attacking me. Oh, I knew you wouldn't say it's Charlie's fault. I was just putting up a stat. They missed 2 field goals that were very distant. You should make them. And 12 carries for -3 yards. And I get here comes the rabid Armstrong Sims pit bulls.
I am not associated with those guys.
Another person that Armstrong is rumored to be associated with is with us on the Impact Health Labs caller line. Baylor Bigfoot, you're on Sic'Em365 Radio. Bigfoot.
Is he there?
Are you there, Bigfoot?
All right.
Guess not.
I guess not. We'll see if...
Bigfoot, guys.
There you go.
The phone. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you're on. Go ahead, Bigfoot, please.
Oh.
Yeah, Bigfoot, are you on a bag phone?
Bigfoot, you're on.
All right, I'm making the call over.
Yeah. All right. A couple of more from the 979. We're going to lose a quarterback next season, whether it's Charlie leaving or Bohannon or Zeno transferring as a result if he stays. Our quarterback room has gotten too small for the amount of talent that's in it. When we sign Drones, we'll have three Elite 11 quarterbacks. I love Charlie, everything he's done for Baylor. I've supported him all season, but I think as a leader, he needs to let the next man up have his shot. Next season is Bohannon's 4th. He's the highest-rated quarterback we have ever recruited, not including Stidham, and he hasn't started a game. That's from the 979. That's a point from you. Appreciate the text message. You know, again, we don't know what Charlie's decision. I've heard either way, that he might say, I'm going to go somewhere else. I've given it everything I have, or he might not play anymore, or he might say, hell, I'm coming back because we have to be better next year.
You know, I don't know about all the ratings and things like that, but if Gary Bohannon was in fact like the highest rated guy or whatever, then those ratings guys need to be fired from their jobs because he's still clearly nowhere near to where they feel comfortable enough for him to go in a game and throw a forward pass. So for as highly rated as he was 4 years ago on potential alone, and that's what he was rated off of, mind you, more so than most guys who are rated off like Quinn Ewers, who has 3 years of South Lake Carroll tape, you can go, okay, I get an idea. How much tape was there on Gary as a quarterback at small level Arkansas high school football? Not much, and so he's always been a project guy. You know, I think it speaks that there's positions for guys like him to come in, and they don't. You know, I think that says something. I don't think that that's just
there's more to just looking good on. There's more to just 2 passes, or there's more to this. There's also what you're doing on an everyday basis. That doesn't mean that the younger guys aren't. But that's part of the equation as well. There's something that's a disconnect there, whatever it might be. And it also might be if Charlie's running for his life, we damn sure don't want to fry these guys' brains. We've already fried Charlie's.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, but I understand your point entirely. And I am in agreement that the quarterback position is going to see some kind of shakeup of guys leaving, guys coming, you know, that kind of a deal.
All right. Hopefully he's got his Zach Morris phone issues worked out. Baylor Bigfoot, you're on the Impact Health Labs caller line on Sic'Em365 Radio.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Baylor Bigfoot, guys. Double B is the phone. First-time caller, long-time listener. Glad I could call to the number 2 radio show on the Sic'Em365 Radio Network. We all know J.E. and Drake's post-game show was the best, honestly. But you know what? There's no shame in second place. First of all, I want to say that Baylor's on-field recruiting analyst, Landry Walsh, needs to go on a date with me ASAP. Hey, I may be Bigfoot, but I have feelings too. She can either go on a date with me or I will put a curse on the Baylor football team. Secondly, I am tremendously proud of the defensive effort Baylor football made against OU. We finally saw what it looks like when Dylan Doyle and Jalen Petrie could do with Michael McNair on the field. He had 2 tackles for loss on that last OU possession. What a beast. I was so glad and proud to see Dave Aranda, Ron Roberts, and Joey McGuire all come onto the field after a timeout and celebrate with them. But do you know who was notably absent from that situation, that celebration? A certain offensive line graduate assistant. And finally, guys, I blame this loss squarely on the water boy for Baylor football. Get him or her out of there. Lack of hydration was a key factor in almost all of Baylor's losses this season. I bet James Danielson fed the candidates and picked that specific one. And thanks for letting me call in. And I would appreciate more prayers for my toilet, Paul. I'll hang up and listen. Double B's out.
Thank you, Bigfoot, for being our second favorite caller.
I don't know what any of that meant.
I don't know.
It's gibberish. You know what? Here's our first favorite caller, or one of them.
No, everybody is our favorite caller. Yeah. Thank you.
Except for Bigfoot.
Yeah, he's 1B now.
Yeah.
I love him.
T-Rex, you're on the Impact Health Labs caller line on Sic'Em365 Radio.
God bless Landry Walsh. God bless that young woman. Do not go on that date. Run far, far away. Yeah. And see, you people think I'm crazy. At least
No, not anymore. Not anymore, buddy.
Maybe, just maybe. I ain't that out there. You know? Anyways, good luck, Baylor, for Bigfoot. Hope you know that she is an Aggie, I believe. So keep that in the back of your mind. Landry, that is. But thank God she works for Baylor now, so we'll forgive her on that. Anyways, back to reality here. Just want to say, I hope if anybody has tickets for Saturday's game, I hope you make it. You know, as we know of it right now, it's the last game of the season. I personally hope we don't accept some random bowl invite off of some technicality. I don't care what you say. We don't deserve to be in a bowl game this year. That's my opinion. So I hope we don't accept that. Just like I don't think teams that win only 5 games and there just happens to not be enough bowl teams in a normal season, I don't think they should accept those invites. So a 2, possibly 3-win Baylor team, even in this crazy year, we had chances to be a bowl eligible team, and unfortunately we didn't do what we had to do. So hopefully Oklahoma State is our last game this season. A true send-off to the seniors. So I hope if you can be there, I hope you make it out there. If you can't, support from where you can. So I hope to see you all out there. I'll be out there live and early at the Sic'Em365 tailgate. We'll be having fun. So stop by the container. Other thing, and I'll hang up and listen here in a second. Saturday, you know what? I said enough about Saturday on the post-game show. So if you want to go back and listen, I ain't got anything to say about that. All I know is that many players leave because they don't see their position here or their future with Baylor. That's all right. Everybody that's a grown person, you go and you take jobs elsewhere. Same thing here. I know college football, people want to make the argument, is this a job? Is it not? Are you there for the school? Should you commit to the school? Or do you commit to the coach or the program, whatever it is? Well, at the end of the day, these are 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds trying to do what's best in their opinion. They got their family that's got a louder voice than any of us do. So if anybody feels that, Baylor's not the home for them in the future, good luck. I hope you find a good good landing spot. And at the end of the day, that's one more scholarship for an Aranda guy. So that's what we got to keep in mind. That's one more guy that can come in, that can fit the new system. As much as we want to love Rule and his guys, there is a clash anytime that a coaching change happens. There's a different system. Different players got to fit that mold. So if you stay, I appreciate you staying. If you go, see you down the road. We appreciate what you did. But next guy up. Sic'Em Bears, I'll see you on Saturday. Let's go beat Oklahoma State for the 3rd year in a row and make it happen. Let's go. I'm out.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Bigfoot. T-Rex, thank you so much. 254-339-1122.
All right, one more before we've got to take a much-delayed break. But, Statman, you're on the Impact Health Labs caller line on Sic'Em365 Radio.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. What an honor and a privilege to follow Bigfoot and T-Rex back to back. Boy, I should tip my cap to those 2 budding legends on Sic'Em365 Radio. Now, I'll deal with reality and speak specifically to what happened Saturday night in Norman. First of all, I want to say what a heroic effort by Baylor quarterback Charlie Brewer. 30 completions and 56 attempts. 263 yards, directly involved, obviously, in both touchdowns with a touchdown pass, a touchdown run. He did have the 2 interceptions. I thought the second interception after halftime crippled any hope that Baylor might have had it coming back in the second half. But a warrior-like effort by the Baylor defense as a whole, holding Oklahoma not just under 30 points, but obviously under 28 points, which was what any Baylor football fan would take going into that game, considering Baylor was a 3-touchdown underdog. All this to say that the bottom line is Oklahoma won, but positives with Baylor having more first downs, more total yards, and you look at time of possession, Oklahoma only had a 20-second advantage, so that's a wash. I'll hang up and listen to your comments. Sic'Em Bears.
Thank you, Statman.
Thank you, Sat.
Yeah.
Appreciate the feedback, all of you.
No, I mean, that defensive effort was heroic, and it was definitely something to be proud of. What Dave Aranda said in the postgame, what he saw as far as improvements made by this team is, obviously there wasn't much on the offensive side that is any kind of improvement, although we've seen a little bit more of Tyquan Thornton, for example, or a little bit more Jonah White or whatever. Outside of that, not much to write home about, but on the defensive side, he did say that this was the first time all season where he felt like they didn't look at the scoreboard on defense, that they just played the same way throughout the entire game, and I think that's exactly what you saw. I mean, Oklahoma had, a couple drives there, and even then, Baylor was still in the game. So, yeah, I mean, the defense, it didn't matter if they were down double digits or it was one-score game or whatever the case might be. I mean, they were playing their tails off.
And he mentioned that in the postgame, kind of alluded to it, and I followed it up with him today in the interview we have at 4. What did he mean by that? And also, how difficult has it been? Because you can have this, especially in a professional locker room, and sometimes in a college or even high school locker room, where one side of the ball seems to be much better than anybody else, and you start to get concerned about splits and maybe finger pointing. Craig, in the post game, I asked Abram Smith this question. Do you feel like the defense performed at a level where you earned more than, I don't remember, that you deserve better?
Yeah.
That wasn't getting Abram Smith to say our offensive line sucks, or Charlie Brewer can't throw the ball deep, or how about the kicker from 47 yards out can't kick it? That wasn't what it was. What I meant by that is to play that kind of game and come away with a loss, that's got to be just a kick in the you-know-whats. And he had a great answer. Dave Aranda clarifies a little bit about what he was talking about, because he thinks maybe earlier in the year there was a little bit, not finger pointing, but, man, we just had a 3 and out and, oh, God, we're going to punt.
Well, no, there was a little stretch, and I can't remember exactly when it happened, and we do have the high school news we probably need to pass along as well before we take this break. But, you know, there was a stretch in that game. I'm trying to think of exactly when it was, but I was just like, I was ready for the defense to fall apart, basically. I was like, all right, that might have been, because I think the offense had gone 3 and out or something, and here comes Oklahoma again. I'm just thinking, all right, this is normally the time in the game where they're going to give up a pretty easy touchdown drive, and then, you know, we'll see what the offense does. And they didn't. Like, they kept that team like they've done pretty much in every single game this year in that game. And when it all came down to it, you know, I felt like they definitely played well enough to win, and they played well enough to be a 5-6 win team at this point on defense. But unfortunately, on the opposite side of that, they've been a 2-win team as an overall team.
Matt Stepp of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine had a couple of notes that Kwame Cavill is not coming back next year as the head football coach of the Lions. They have struggled. They were struggling before he arrived, and they have struggled even when he was there. He tried. He thought he could bring back the roar, whatever that might be. He said, I was asked to leave. They want to go in a different direction. And, you know, the new AD and Ed Love, right? Johnny Tusagon, who hired him. And then Rodney Smith, who I saw at the game a couple weeks ago, Malakoff and Grandview, he's going to be the assistant AD. That's already been out there. Of course, now they also look for a head coach at both now Waco High and University High. And, you know, I don't know who's going to be able to turn that around. There's some systematic things I'm sure that the new coach will have to want more of or less of. And some of the players are going elsewhere.
They're kind of wedged into a situation that, you know, is 40 years old now, almost, or 30 years old, that until they resolve it, I don't think much is going to change.
Yeah, I mean, go hire Urban Meyer. If you don't have the athletes like the other schools, it's not going to matter. Yeah. Waco High is you know, more of, what would you say, like a soccer school, or I'm not well versed in all of the outside of football sports. You guys can help me out if you can, but you know, they're more well versed probably right now in other sports than they are, more so than they were known for football back in the day. So yeah, I mean, that's one big part of the problem. And you know, good luck to whoever takes the job, but nobody wanted to do a better job than Kwame Cavill for Waco High. And so you're not going to find anybody who wanted to do a better job, but maybe there's somebody who can do a better job. I don't know, but that's a really tough gig right now.
Yeah, I asked him, I said, hey, I didn't know about what's going on. And he said, again, I was asked to leave. I was asked to not come back, and they want to go in a different direction. And so they're looking for both University and Waco High. Coming up next, 2 programs that have no problem winning. Mart and Crawford keep rolling. Mart scored on 3 of their first 4 plays against Tenaha to win 54-23. And Crawford, all of that talk last week about Bosqueville took them to the edge, which they did earlier in October, and they just blew their doors off in a 48-0 rout. And now they play a team very similar to them. How about this stat, guys? Post is 14-0. I know, Paul. 14-0. They've had 12 opponents that have scored 7 points or less. That's coming up next. Dave Aranda at 4, Phil Bennett at 5, and much more, including Scott Drew on another game being canceled. This is Sic'Em365 Radio. Waco Custom Marketplace. They have now unveiled their holiday gift boxes. Brian Bauer, part of the Bauer family that owns Waco Custom Marketplace, Here's what they have. You have different type of steak gift boxes. 4 pieces of ribeyes with steak butter, $70. 4 New York strips, steak butter for $50. 4 bacon wrapped fillets with steak butter, $55. This is at Waco Custom Marketplace. You can also order this online at wacocustommarketplace.com. 2 lobster tails and bacon wrapped fillets, 2 of them, that's $60. A fall snack box for, let's say you're having a little bit of a get-together or people coming over. You want to have it for you to watch the game. That is for $35. It includes a pound of Marketplace summer sausage, 1 pound of split horn cheese, a pound of jalapeno cheese with salted crackers, and you want to add a couple of steaks to that, it's from $35, it goes to $50. Holiday bundle gift box with ribeyes, bacon wrapped fillets, and New York strips, 2 each, $75. Gift cards for Christmas and stocking stuffers or just for what you want. Customer holiday favorites, the choice beef tenderloin, boneless pit ham, whole smoked turkeys, and prime rib roast, whatever size, how many pounds you want. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
With your Ram truck from Allen Samuels, you may not have to plow through snow and mud or pull heavy loads, but you could. During the Big Finish year-end event, you get a Ram deal like no other. Employee pricing for all, 0% for 84, and no payments for 90 days. Ram 1500 Lone Star for Christmas. No other truck comes close. And ask about Big Finish pricing on Ram Heavy Duty and Ram ProMaster for your business. Happy holidays from Allen Samuels.
How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday, 5 to 10, Friday 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday 7 to 7, and personal trainers Christy London and Randall Court. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna, and now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere, and yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
MP Electric has developed a quality-oriented electrical contracting service in more than 20 years in the industry. Led by President Mark Perry, our electricians go through a 5-year apprenticeship program, are licensed by the state of Texas, and getting continuous education annually upon renewal. In great part, the success of MP Electric lies with its management and professional expertise of its employees. All of our employees share a dedication to quality and commitment to serving the needs of our customers. For new construction and remodels, parking lot, lighting and surge protection, landscape lights, security lights, troubleshooting and repairs. For industrial manufacturing, food and beverage, paper and publishing, heavy industry, cement and rock crushing plants, water distribution plants, and utilities. For 20 years, MP Electric has serviced industrial, commercial, and residential products. We do service right. MP Electric Inc. at 1890 Galaxy Road, Waco. MPElectricUSA.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Welcome back to Sic'Em 365 Radio.
The Sic'Em365 radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
We will have much more high school football at 4:45. Players of the week and some notes about a lot of things, high school football, some Baylor commits, the schedule, and Craig's Q&A summary as well. As we mentioned earlier, Matt Stepp reporting that Kwame Cavill is out, and Kwame said again it was Waco ISD's decision, and they want to go in another direction. Good luck with that, because they've got some work to do, and if they can find somebody to do that and bring back the pride, the tradition of Waco high football, God bless them. Because they've tried a lot of different things. But there's only, Johnny Tusa, it's kind of like trying to replace the legend. They've been trying to do that now for quite some time. And it's just not the same with what they have to work with. Maybe they can find another Lewis Fight or another, Derek Johnson.
But the outside above football, the districting and other issues are different than when Johnny Tusa was there.
Yeah, well, and
the population is shifting.
A lot of people now, and a lot of programs around you are winning. I know a lot of people point to Midway, but La Vega, Connolly, China Springs, Bosqueville, Crawford. I know that those are smaller schools, some of them.
Yeah, but
they're winning.
If you take, two families out of Waco High,
Lorena,
say we just mentioned all those schools. Say one player that would have lived here 15 years ago now lives in all of those places. That's 15 players that you don't have.
Yeah.
Riker's best players from La Vega.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And Eli Cummings, there's no question. Lorena's quarterback was from Midway. So the other schools get a little bit of a raid as well. It's no different than what we might see in college football immediately after the next weekend or two. So Scott Drew today, media session. It was scheduled to discuss Nicholls State not being able to play Gonzaga. That was a kick in the you-know-what. We've had a lot of those this year.
I got to mention, what a weekend for Baylor athletics. You get the big basketball showdown canceled an hour and a half before tip-off. You take OU sort of to the wire in a game where you didn't really know what was going to go, only to get gut-punched. Women's basketball turns around and loses the next day. And now you have another, and men's basketball gets canceled again. So, golly, what a 3-day stretch.
You wouldn't have known by talking to Scott today.
No, and that's what's great about him. And we'll have a Kim Mulkey comment that I asked her in the postgame about. They always seem to have an early blemish, especially when it's a possible road game. Not always. They had the 40-0 team, but there's always something early on. And they had that last night. They just hope that's the only one that they'll have, because they start conference play very soon like the men do. Here's Scott Drew as they had the game with Nicholls State canceled because of COVID and just want to find a game to play.
Well, I think right now anyone that can play is more open to playing, because, again, all us coaches want to see our guys have an opportunity to play. And to be honest, as many practices as we had in, the last thing our guys want to do is practice more. They want to play games. So we're all working together to try to make that happen. I think logistically, obviously, it's easier for schools that can bus, because things are a lot tougher when you have to get plane flights involved and whatnot. But the big thing is availability, and then the COVID protocols, and then how quick the administrations can okay all the travel and necessities. And especially it's becoming tougher as you know, with the holiday season coming up. Once finals is over and people leave campus, it's hard to sometimes get everything passed in a minute's notice.
So that's Scott Drew. The game with Nicholls State canceled. They're getting ready to go right into the Big 12 sledgehammer, and they're a part of the hammer. If you watch what you've seen, West Virginia played Gonzaga straight up, lost in the end. Texas has beaten North Carolina, and then I watched a lot of that game with Villanova. Hell of a game. I mean, they're a different team, at least like right now. And Greg Brown's big time, and of course Coleman. Oh my God, the kid Rainey, and others. They're good. And then we know Kansas is good. And Texas Tech with Chris Beard will be good. And Oklahoma will be good with Lon Kruger. And you keep going, right?
Yep.
So, Mart is in the semifinals. Crawford, they're in the semifinals. They're playing this week. Mart plays Falls City, who they've met before. Crawford plays Post. Here's my conversation with take a break. We'll come back with Mark's Kevin Hoffman and Crawford's Greg Jacobs on their games coming up in the semifinals, and we'll then get into high school football a little bit more detailed at 4:45. Dave Aranda at 4, Sic'Em365 Radio. I'll get it. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. There's something that I get from Bob Block Marketing that has all the discounts. Here's the bottom line. If you want a Ram truck, they have the incentives out there where you can have no payments for X amount of days. You can also have numerous discounts. And on top of that, you also have the 0% interest as well for a certain amount of time. That's what you have with the Ram truck, the truck of Texas, right? The Ram truck. And then if you want to say, okay, I don't want a pickup truck. I want to have something that's durable and rugged. Well, they have basically almost the same type incentives on their Jeeps, whether it's the Grand Cherokee, the Renegade, or the Gladiator. If you go to the lot or you go online, AlanSamuelsDCJ.com, you'll see what I'm talking about. You need the color, they have the color. If they don't have something for whatever reason, and they've got just a huge inventory on their lot, and because of that, they have a lot of different relationships with dealerships. In fact, some of them are their own around Texas and around the South and around America. You say, okay, I want to get a minivan. Same thing. They have that. They have AJ, the sales rep, who sold me my car that I've loved ever since I bought it in May and has kept up with me. I say that because he has even sometimes contacted me about something I didn't even think I needed to check. That's the kind of stuff after you have already paid the dealership or you're paying for your car. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Ted Teague, go by and say hi to him and all the great staff and every salesperson. Man or woman will help you the way AJ has helped me at Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Bird Culture Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culture Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culture Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new pre-owned Bird Culture Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culture Ford.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance in McLennan County takes pride in backing Central Texas football. Our agents would like to help with your insurance needs. Call 254-772-8090 for an agent near you.
Hi, this is Mart High School football coach Kevin Hoffman. and I'm a proud listener and supporter of the all-new Sic'Em365 radio show with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
This segment with Mark Panthers football coach Kevin Hoffman is sponsored by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine, First National Bank of Central Texas.
Kevin, here you are, a win away from trying to win a fourth consecutive state title, but that's really been the case ever since you won that third straight a year ago. But now you're in the cusp of those semifinals against a team that kind of tries to confuse you with the alignments and what they do. Your thoughts about Fall City?
Yeah, Fall City, they're really good at what they do. And Coach Kierhoff is in his second stint there at Fall City, and obviously he won a state championship with those guys back in 2011, I believe. So they know what to do and how to do it, and their flex bone offense and the things that they do, they're really good at attacking defenses. So we gotta be sound in what we do.
Have you seen anybody that runs anything similar or has that many formations?
No. Formation-wise, when we played like Anahuac, they would get in, a lot of different formations. They're more. Those guys were more of the old Newton stuff, but that's pretty close to as close to what we've seen in a while. I guess the last team that ran something similar to this was Refugio when they came here in 2018 when they were experimenting with that flex bone type of stuff. So really it's been since then since we've seen anything like this.
Well, you took care of business. I saw the explosive start you had, scored on 3 of your first 4 snaps, and then Tenaha, again, they got some pride. They kept that thing within reason. Your thoughts about how you guys handled initially the start and just handled the game against the Tigers?
Yeah, we were really happy to get off to such a fast start and get a 21-0 lead. Like you said, we ran 4 plays and scored on 3 of them. And, that was we had kind of game planned that for a while. If we got to them, had some tendencies on them that we thought we could hit some big plays on them with some different stuff that we've not done this year. And so we were fortunate to do that. And then, they didn't quit. They got some dudes over there that can play. They got some coaches over there that know what they're doing coaching-wise, and they made a couple adjustments and got into some stuff that gave us a little bit of trouble there for just a little bit. And then we went on our, making our adjustments and did some things at halftime to make some even further adjustments and then shut them out in the second half.
When I look at the stats for Fall City, obviously they're run heavy. They don't throw the ball much, but they're very run heavy. And it's not like they have one guy that has 1,800 yards. It appears as if they've got 2 or 3. Is that also because of what they run offensively?
Yeah, they're based out of flex bone, so it's all triple option stuff. So you got to play assignment football, and you got to take care of the dive, the fullback on a dive, and then you obviously have to take care of the quarterback, and you got to have somebody on the pitch. But you got to play those assignments, and you got to play assignment football, and you can't get out of whack with any of it. If you do, the fullback can take it to the house, the quarterback can take it to the house, and then the pitch man can take it to the house. But if you forget about the passing stuff, that they'll do all that, and it'll look like run. They'll play action you, and then they'll go over the top. So you got to be prepped for all of it.
Hi, this is Crawford AD head football coach Greg Jacobs, and you're listening to Sic'Em365 Radio with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
This segment with Crawford Pirates football coach Greg Jacobs is sponsored by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine, MP Electric.
I know there had been a lot of buildup, and you and I had talked about even the possibility of, as the season went on, you might see Bosqueville again. And my goodness, you delivered a statement loud and clear, did you not?
Well, we played really well. Our kids were really focused all week. I think they had a bad taste in their mouth from the previous meeting. They didn't play very well, and we were a little undermanned that night. And, we were fortunate to come out with a win in that game. So going into this past week, we kids were really focused in practice. They had their mind set on performing well and playing well, and fortunately they were able to do that.
You dominated that game, and obviously sets up a semifinal game. It's almost like, not quite, but you're almost like looking in a mirror with what you've done and what Post has done. And I told you this a minute ago. I look at their numbers, and I've paid attention to them, but I look at what they've done. They have beaten people up, and the defense has allowed 53 points in 12 games. Obviously, there's 2 forfeits as well. You guys have been a part of a couple of those as well. What do they do on defense that makes them so stingy?
Well, they've got great players for one thing. They're very experienced. They've got a number of seniors on that ball club, and they played in the state title game last year, and so they've got good experience. They're real sound in what they do. They're very aggressive. They're attacking defense. They've got good size and good speed, and then, they're just really sound at what they do, and they're playing with a lot of confidence on defense.
But you are too, and your guys know what you're facing or who you're facing, and they see that. But you've been able to dominate people for a long, long time as well. Is this one of those where you look at the defense, not the offensive numbers? Both of you have combined for like 1,100 points, but is this one of those where every possession is going to be like a grind?
I think so. I know our defense is looking forward to the challenge. We're pretty sound and pretty solid up front, too, and our defense has been playing well. So this may turn into a defensive battle, with the attitude that our kids have going into this game. I think, they're really excited about this opportunity and this challenge in front of them, so we'll see what happens.
Does it also help who you're playing that sometimes people look at what's next if you win? It's a state championship week, and there's none of that this week because of the challenge you have, and vice versa as well?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we take it, like I said, we started the year taking it day by day. We're taking it day by day right now. This is the most important thing in our future is this game, and that's all we're worried about right now, concerned about being prepared for this game with Post.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
How can we help you? That's a question we ask every day at American Bank. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Our commitment to our customers is what drives us. It's why we've invested in new branch buildings and technology like ITMs that let you speak to a teller face-to-face from your car. It's why we work with local businesses, helping Waco grow and thrive. And it's why decisions about your accounts and loans are made here in Waco by people who know you. How can we help you? Find out at American Bank, member FDIC.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sic'Em365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of health care while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of health care has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance, and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Welcome back to Sic'Em365 Radio.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Brewer, looking for room on the opposite side. He's got his receiver. Touchdown! It's Sneed. It's number 9, Taquan Thornton, I beg your pardon, on the reception.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on Sic'Em365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
Now, here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Baylor football coach Dave Aranda with us on Sic'Em365 Radio. You mentioned in the Big 12 teleconference about the culture at Baylor. Everyone needs to be tight. Everyone needs to be on the same page. Has that been at times this year one of the struggles because of all the distance and the changes and the ups and downs?
Well, I think if we didn't have COVID here and we didn't have quarantines and we didn't have any of that, I think it would, we would probably be tighter and stronger. I believe that. I don't think it's been a negative. I just feel like it we can be better. I think Baylor wins with a really, really strong culture. And I think, like, when you see, like, whether it's this game, guys fighting to the last seconds, or you see, Kansas State, guys fighting to win in the last seconds, I think you see that, come out. And so I feel like the more together we can be and the more that we do as a team and, the stronger we are. It's difficult to be together when, things are set up for you not to be together.
Yeah.
And so I think there's certain teams that don't win that way. It's more of clear the floor, get Jimmy Chip with the ball, and let them go one-on-one. And we are not that way. And so we are a team that wins. Together is stronger. And so I think it's something that we've been fully working on, and I feel improving as it goes, and I feel like we'll be even better here coming up.
You mentioned after the game, after Oklahoma, the defense was just spectacular, and how they got after Spencer Rattler in Oklahoma, and you've now done that both at LSU and also at Baylor, and how they just played no matter the score, no matter the situation, no matter if the offense was having a big game or not. Do you feel like that's something that you've also been proud of, that there has been no finger pointing, that if the defense plays that well but they can't win because there's not enough points, that they have focused on themselves and not looking across the room or at another part of the game?
I am proud of our guys that way, and proud of the defensive staff. I thought our players did a great job of, the talk on the sidelines, the focus on the field. I thought that guys were locked in the entire time, and just there's stages there in the game to where their offense got the ball, OU on a short field, and you just see the look in guys' eyes, and they're ready to go, right? And then they're right back out after whatever happens, and they're ready to go. And so it was, I think there was some early on of defensively, well, we're doing this, what's happening on the other end? And so we had to address that, and I think our guys are one that everything that we've talked about they attack and fix, and I feel like we want to build off of this last game and take what we started here and take it to this next Saturday.
Is the offensive line, and you've been asked about it by me and others as well, were they the most affected group because of how weird this year has been, without spring drills, without even maybe sometimes the normalness of the early part of the season? Is that a one position group that's affected more, even more so than a quarterback, wide receiver group, or anything defense?
I think so. That's a good observation. I think just their ability to work as a unit, 5 guys, thinking, feeling, and talking the same way, I think is paramount. And I think early in the year, not having that, who's in there and what is he playing, and we were getting guys back, I think, a day or two prior to a game, and we've had our guys here, and it's been that's been a lot more consistent, having the guys. It's just the execution, and you look at this last game, and there's times where all 5 guys are on it, and then there's times where 3 guys are on it, and 2 aren't, or 4 are on it. And most of the times it's 4 guys doing this and 1 guy doing that, and we have to be better there. And so I think everyone clearly sees that, and we're really working hard to find the things that we can do versus a really good front here coming up this Saturday, and then the pressure that's going to come with just really 9-man fronts with safeties locked in like Okie State does. So it's a challenge ahead of us.
How would you describe Charlie Brewer and what he's been able to do? Obviously, he had the big moment in the second half 2 weeks ago, and then the offense struggled against Oklahoma. And it's been a lot of times. I had a former offensive lineman tell me that he's constantly, almost even seeing things when they're not there, because there's been so many pressures from different angles. We know he's not flawless, but you have supported him, obviously, from the beginning. Your thoughts about his game, his season, and who he is as a quarterback at Baylor?
Yeah, as a person, I think Charlie is. I've never heard Charlie complain. I've never heard him. Why is this happening? Why me? I've never heard if only it was this or only if it was that. I've just heard him just take responsibility, and even when it's not his to take, he takes it. And so, Charlie, just as a person, is loved in this building, and just team wise, coaches wise, support wise, staff. they see a guy that's a competitor that lays it out there and then, doesn't complain. And so you don't, nowadays, that all of that's just very rare. And so it makes you, when you see that, it's kind of, you want your kid to be like that. You want your people to be like that. And so I think the players have that kind of just instinctually. They see that this is the person I want to be, and so they're fighting for that. I think, to continue to work to get the offense to where Charlie's comfortable and we're playing his style of ball. I think is the continued movement here, and I feel like the amount of man, the amount of pressure that we're going to get from Okie State are going to open up some things, and so we have to be sure to capitalize with it. And a lot of that is, all of that is all flowing through him as it's been throughout.
Do you feel like sometimes with what Coach Fedora wants to run or what he's always run compared to what Charlie does and what's best for him is almost at times been a circle and a square?
I think Charlie is best when there is when there's chaos, when there is outside the pocket, when it's kind of when instincts are taken over. That's when he's at his best. And so I think it's difficult when you have a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to prepare, and it's like, we're going to be operating under scramble drill is basically what we're doing. And so I think, you have to be really creative, I feel, and really open to minimizing kind of what you have and just making sure that the players are out in front. And that when we're thinking of offense, or we're thinking of defense for that matter, I think, it showed up, and to Larry's credit, it's been that way, whether it's Tresson, we've got this form, or it's Fleeks and we have this package for him and these plays are going to him, or it's RJ and we're looking for him, or defensively it's Petrie and he's getting this big sack that's kind of flipping this turn the tide, or when it was kind of a where is this going to go type of game here on Saturday. So I feel like when you're thinking players and not plays, you are in the you're in the right space, and I feel just finding enough variety in there, I think, is the key.
National Signing Day is coming up, and I know you can't comment about anybody until they sign, but are you also as much recruiting within your own roster right now with the way things are so easy for players to leave or get disgruntled or get tired or just they're worn out? Is that as much your recruitment process as anything else of anybody new coming to Baylor?
Well, I see where I understand your question. I wouldn't look at it as a recruiting. I would look at it as investing in our people and getting to know your people and knowing, so not trying to, not asking them to come to where I'm at. I'm gonna go to where they're at and meet them there and help them get to where, this is where you're at now, but this is how I see you. These are the positives that you bring. These are the things that we can build on. Here's the things we can work on, and we can get you there, man, and build the person. I think when you build a person, in that process, you're building a relationship, and I think throughout that, you can build the player. And so I would see it like that, and it's been that way throughout. I think whether it was phone calls during the quarantine or just, I think there's been more one-on-ones, which I always appreciate, and just having guys here in the office and talking about things that they are going through and things that they are fighting and things that are holding them back, and then really working on ways that we can fight that. And I feel like when you do that, I think you're getting a look under the hood, and I think for them, for players, I think that's the way to go about it, because I think if you're not doing that, you're looking at outside and the frustrations that come in life. It's really easy to point the finger, and so I think for us to always work on yourself and what can I do better and how can I be a better person, I feel like that's the process there.
I don't know what the actual situation is anymore with bowl games, and I know you're 2-6, and it's either 3-6 or you're 2-7, whatever happens. If in fact somehow a bowl game was available, I know you're going to be able to practice through the 19th, but if a bowl game became available at 2-7 or 3-6, would you take it?
Right now, I would say no. I think right now we're really focused on this next one. And, I just think just with our depth, just with our kind of our mental state, and just the, so many guys have sacrificed so much, and it hasn't, the mental and the physical are kind of, there's not really a line there anymore. It's very much, grayed out, and so there's guys that are putting it, giving us everything they got to get us there and get us a win and finish this out strong. And so like my motivation is like what we can do to win today and get us to where we can get ourselves a W on Saturday versus a really good Oklahoma State team that I know is going to come in pissed off and ready to play. And so that's really all we're thinking about.
You are pretty animated. It's not as if you're not. People sometimes look at your personality and they don't understand the fire that burns in your belly. We've discussed this before, but it did seem like as we've seen you the last couple of weeks, we're more and more animated on the sideline. Is that because you're becoming more and more comfortable in your role as a head coach?
I don't know. I mean, the equipment staff's got some Red Bulls down there. Maybe it's that. I don't know, man. I don't know. It could be like we talk about, is it the white monsters or the red monsters are the best ones to drink? It could be that stuff. I just feel like when I'm there and I'm just seeing guys, just no one you talk to guys individually and you know what they're going through and you know like what they're fighting, and then they go out there and the situation that comes up that you talked about, and they rise up and they excel. I mean, that's what it's about right there, man. So that gets you excited. And then when you're fighting stuff, whereas in the past, early in the year, you would struggle because I'm looking at what this guy did or what that guy did, and if they're not doing this, why do I got to do this? And now I'm just focused on what's right in front of me, and that hits, and now they are accomplishing things that they didn't think they could, and then you could see the light come in their eyes, man, and it lights up. And so all of that, I feel, is the reason you get excited, but it could be the other stuff too. So.
Thank you, Dave. Dave Aranda, head football coach at Baylor, Sic'Em365 Radio.
When we come back, Waco High, former head football coach Kwame Cavell, plus we'll hear from Kim Mulkey on the loss last night to Arkansas. Dr. Kent Petty at PettyClinicLowT.com. What can he do for you? He can make you feel better. If you're a man and you're getting older in age, and I don't know what that would be because people live longer now than ever before, but let's say you're in your mid-30s or upper 30s and you're starting to become a little lethargic, you're not sleeping well, and you might have even lost your sex drive. For whatever reason it might be. One of the reasons could be your testosterone levels as you get older change. They drop. It drops. And testosterone is like fuel. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the man, the high-performance man that you want to be in many ways. Sleep better, focus better, again, sex drive is better, energy better, all of the above. Tell him Smokey sent you, PettyClinicLowT.com. He'll get you set up to get your blood work. He'll look at your testosterone count. If it's too low, he can put you in a program to increase your testosterone so you can become the high-performance man that you want to be. And you may say, I'm only 35 or I'm 39. That's for guys like Smokey's age, 61 or so. It can happen even younger than you think. And sometimes you can be 60 or 70 and you have no problems with testosterone levels. So contact Dr. Kent Petty. I promise you, he can help you and get you in a program to help you become a higher performance man at pettycliniclowt.com.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Cap short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store.
This is Sic'Em365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The Sic'Em365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
All right, back here at Sic'Em365 Radio. Just got off the phone a minute ago with Kwame Cavill. Matt Stepp reporting that he's no longer the head coach at Waco High. We're expecting Kwame at any time. We'll also hear from Kim Mulkey on a question that I brought up last night after their loss to Arkansas. And I tell you what, Arkansas looked like they were the better team. They were more athletic. Obviously, Baylor's got some moving parts with some youth and then depth. And Dede Richards not quite where she needs to be, but she will be at some point. And they always have like that happen to somebody on the road. UCLA, of course, Stanford, UConn, good teams. And Last night it was Arkansas, and we'll hear from her in just a second.
Yeah.
All right.
It's just one of those nights. And, like you said, they have early season blemishes pretty much every year. They typically have one loss and not much more than that. So we'll see because, there's still a bunch of tough games on this schedule, and that's something to learn from.
Washington and Pittsburgh mid-first quarter in an early game, a doubleheader with the Bills and 49ers tonight, Cowboys and Ravens tomorrow. That game is in the first quarter, scoreless at this time. We're now joined by Kwame Cavil, who came back to his alma mater to try to help restore the roar, so to speak, at a place. And when he was there, they were really good for a long time. Waco High, of course, the program has struggled, and Kwame Cavil is no longer the head coach at Waco High, joins us live. Kwame, can you kind of give it, did you have an idea that this was coming?
Well, I think all coaches understand when they don't, when you're not able to produce wins, for whatever mediating factors there are, that the reason why. And I'm not an excuse maker. I think every coach has a timetable. It's usually a 3 or 4 year window mark, and to be able to you kind of have that feeling to know, like, either we getting this turned around, or the calls will start coming, and the naysayers will start getting louder. And like all of my 3 years here at Waco High, I never had received a tweet till this year. And it was like, wow, okay. And it could have been a fan, it could have been, could have been anybody. But I had never received that to this year. So that kind of let me know that, things were a little, getting a little different. And, I understand that. And when you're a coach, when you don't establish the wins that you're supposed to establish, or you don't do the things you're supposed to do, then you leave error for people to look in different directions. I mean, it happens all across the board at each level, but hey, it's not a bad thing in the sense that, I get to say I was able to come back to my alma mater and try to restore the roar, like you said, and build this thing to where we know it needs to be. I wanted to bring excitement. I think I did that. I think it's up to the new guy that they have come in to bring it to the next level. I thought it was going to be me, but it wasn't, and I'm okay with that. There are other things for me not other things, but there are other challenges for me to meet.
One of the things I remember 3 years ago when you got the job, one of the things you said, it was just kind of rebooting the culture and the attitude and the participation.
Right.
How do you feel that you accomplished that? I mean, wins and losses secondary to that. How do you feel you did in that regard in 3 years?
I think I did okay. I think it needs to get a whole lot better. But there are other factors that factor into that. Here's the deal. I can't put people on scholarship. I can't offer free agent contracts. The only thing I can do is present them with me and the things that I have to present them with. Being at Waco High, being at a 6A, playing against top-notch talent, getting exposure, things of that nature. The facilities were just as good as anybody else. Now, can they be better? Sure. Who doesn't want a mid-wage facility? Who doesn't want that? I want it. I wanted it. Still want it for anybody else that come in there for just being an ex-Waco High line. But I couldn't offer that. But I think what we did was created a level of excitement in the community to make kids want to come out. I think the participation numbers weren't where they needed to be, but they were as good as I was going to get them at that point. I think you need a little bit more time, and unfortunately, I didn't get it. But that's up to the next guy that they hire in to generate and get that excitement even more, and to the level of how it was when I played. And I'm okay with that. I'm still an ex-alumni. I'm still a former Waco High Lion. I'm still my dad and mom still lives here, so I still want my school to be at a certain level. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to get to that point. I sure would love to have some more opportunity to do that, but I'm okay. The next guy, that's his job, and I wish him the best because I'm gonna still want that for my school. Seriously.
Kwame, I would imagine, under normal circumstances, maybe you'd had an opportunity to talk to the team after the decision was made. Have you had that opportunity? You have? Okay.
Oh, without a doubt. I wasn't going to get on the radio with you guys.
Yeah.
Talk to the people that I need to talk to. It's just, that's how that is. No, I owe it to, professionally, and not only professionally, but just as it's been a relationship with my guys. I was the first head black coach at Waco High. That's nothing to sneeze at. It has rippling effects to that. Now those guys feel like, it's like when I saw Obama become president. I thought I'd never see that day. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And when I saw it, I was like, well, I know that KJ and Skylar and Sakaya and Kylie, who are my kids, by the way, they feel like they can do anything. And now with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden's presidency in there, I know my daughters feel like, I become the vice president of the United States. That is a wonderful feeling. I thought I'd never see that, and to be able to see that, and I'm not and don't get it twisted, I'm not comparing myself to the president of the United States, or none of that caliber. But in the grand scheme of what the images that my kids get to see, and the images that I was able to show the kids that I coached, it's powerful. And I talked to them today about it. I said my job was to make sure that I turn you guys into productive citizens, and I hope that you learn that, to instill you guys with values and expectations that maybe you wouldn't got anywhere else because you were Waco High, and because you've been under my tutelage, you have those now. So, I'm proud of that. I'm still gonna try to get guys into college because I owe that to them, and still a line pride still runs deep through me, and it always will. But unfortunately, it won't be led by me.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, man. I understand that. I get it. It's not the first time I've been cut.
No, and you've shown resiliency, and I know you'll find another opportunity. Yeah. But at the same time, the numbers are down. You're in the hardest 6A district in the state of Texas, with 3 teams who are ranked, and they could be 1, 2, and 3 at any point, with DeSoto, Cedar Hill, and Duncanville. Mike, and this is a year of COVID. Is this unrealistic? And if somebody comes in and goes 9-2 next year, God bless them. But
without a doubt,
there are no Derek Johnson. There are no Derek Johnsons and Jared Salubis and Kwame Cavilles and Robert Johnsons and Lewis Fights. Are they on that campus?
Well, I can tell you this. There's not there's some. We just need, when you go in a district like you just said, I'm not going to say that as a competitor, I'm not going to give them all of that. Now, that is reality. Right. As a competitor, I never wanted my kids to feel that, and I still don't feel that way, but it is what it is. Those guys are good, and there are guys out there. Now, I'm not going to shortchange the kids that I have that are there, and I'm not going to shortchange the kids that I coached. But you're right in the sense that there's not enough of them,
right,
like there used to be. It wasn't just, like Derek and myself, and I hate to say that, but the LaCurtis Joneses, the Lewis Fight, those were teams. Now, they had stars, but there were teams. There were other stars on those teams that were great. And there's not enough stars. There's not a plethora of stars like it used to be. And that's where, developing comes in, and, middle school, preparation, academics, all that. It's a perfect marriage. And it's a process. Our superintendent that hired me is not there. We just hired a new one, and Kim Cannon, not too long ago, and she's doing a great job. And it's just a process, and I'm just part of that process of getting it to the point where it needs to be. And you're right. It's a rebuilding a big-time rebuilding job. And my job was to get it to this point. I mean, obviously. And now it's going to be someone else's job to get it to another point. And as competitors as a son, yeah. I mean, I want to coach. I want to be the head coach. But I definitely want to coach my kids. And I want to see it to the end because part of my rules of Lion Pride of number 5 is it's finished. And I didn't get to finish what I started. And I understand that, and that's part of the business, but hopefully someone else does because we owe it to this community and we owe it to these kids because they are working their tails off to get to that point. Just need to continue to grow it. Just continue to grow it. And, you know, I'm never going to – I'm not going to cry with spilled milk and say, hey, man, there's not enough athletes at Waco High. You know, as a competitor, I think I can develop anybody, you know, but, I know what you're saying, Smoke. We didn't look like Dunkerville when Dunkerville stepped up.
And neither does almost anyone else in America. But, Craig,
exactly. Go ahead.
Kwame, what do you look back on now during this, this tenure? Do you have a favorite moment? Do you have a favorite game? Do you have kind of something that you'll take with you, obviously?
Oh, man, it's a good question. My favorite moment is just, it was every day. I mean, listen, it was like I told my friend this the other day, I said it was real, it was fun, but it wasn't real fun. And at the end of the day, that's a lie. It was real fun. Mm-hmm. You know, I had a blast. I got a chance to be the head coach at my alma mater. Got a chance to influence some young athletes that, you know, remind me of myself. That was fun. Being there to win against West Mesquite, first game of the season, was one of our goals, win the opener. That was fun. To beat University with 2 weeks to prepare, that was stressful and fun at the same time.
Right.
But then there was some, and it was the bad times. You know, just going through turnover. Knowing that, and I like Coach Herbst, knowing that I was replacing a good dude in Coach Herbst, and just know how that works. And now I'm in that same position. It's so many. I mean, I'm going blank because I'm trying to think of all of the moments, but
yeah, surely
I've had a great time, and I love the fact that Waco embraced me back. To come back and try to attack this challenge. Fun times when, it was good when getting interviewed by Smokey, and having Smoke call me and say, hey, let's do an interview. It's just stuff like that never gets old, and greatly appreciate the opportunity from WISD and the community and everything. Greatly appreciate it. Now it's time to move on to another challenge. And I wish the new guy, man, all the luck and all the wins he can get, because God knows I'm still going to look at the paper and see what Waco did.
Yep.
Because I'm a Waco Lion.
Yep.
That's never going away.
No,
right?
that's and whenever that next opportunity comes, I want to know, and we'll keep up with you and check in with you again. Just repeat the one quote. The one quote you asked that I asked you. I said, "Tell me about what you think is going on at the University of Texas." We have a segment to get to, but tell me what you told me about that group that you have to face at a UT if you're the head football coach.
Oh, man, it's the Board of Regents. It's like 9 Jerry Jones. I know. Like, they all, I mean, it's the truth. Now, it's a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, those expectations. Like, who doesn't want to be like Alabama right now and Clemson? Like, every year, they're perennial going for it, or the other group that's past the Red River. Who doesn't want to be in those circles right now? And the problem is those expectations are just as high as theirs, but we just not meeting them. And you got to answer to that. And they that extreme, but obviously the expectations here at Waco High is we need to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I understand that. Once I signed the contract to be the head coach, that's part of it, and all coaches understand that. We might not like it, but we understand that, and it's now don't get it twisted. Now the University of Texas is not near as much pressure as Waco High is not near enough pressure as the University of Texas. I mean, come on.
No, we understand that. Yeah.
He got 15 million reasons why he should stay or go if they give him, if they exercise that. But you're right, it's pressure, and you got to meet it. And hopefully, they give him a chance to do that because I'm a coach that understands it's a lot of factors. But if not, whoever they bring in there, may the next guy win. And it sounds like they want Urban. But Urban understands that pressure cooker that's down there because he's been in two of them, in Florida and Ohio State. So he truly understands that. And if that's the guy, let that be the guy. Just know that all the Texans still gonna be upon you.
Kwame, it was great to know on a little bit before it became official that you were the next coach at Waco High. I appreciate you spending time with Paul, Craig, me, and our audience. Wish you the best of luck. Thanks for being a part of the show, and good luck today, and we'll be thinking about you.
No doubt. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Kwame Cavill.
On the show. Y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll get him again. Thanks for his time. Kwame Cavill, former head coach now at Waco High.
Jerry Jones.
9 Jerry Jones that you're facing. Pittsburgh, Washington still scoreless near the end of the first quarter. In a game that's going back and forth, not much offense, at least so far. When we come back.
All punts.
Well, that's what I told you during the commercial break. Urban Meyer's been to UT twice already. He's been to equivalent schools in Florida and Ohio State.
Florida and Ohio State.
He knows how it works.
And we'll hear from Brian Davis on that and a few questions we have from him from the Austin American-Statesman at 5:30. Coming up next, high school football playoffs and our players of the week and a couple of high school nuggets. This is Sic'Em 365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. They've got the Christmas, or should I say holiday, sales event going on right now at Richard Carr. The most wonderful time of the year to save big on all remaining 2020 vehicles in stock, along with incoming 2021 GMC Sierras. And speaking of the Sierra, it's a truck with it all: power, first-class seating, unbeatable technology. It's the best truck on the road, and during Richard Carr's holiday savings event, qualified buyers can unwrap $8,000 off a 2021 GMC Sierra Tex Edition Crew Cab at Richard Carr. If you're looking for a top-of-the-line mid-size SUV, Richard Carr is offering $7,000 off of GMC Terrains. They're offering $7,500 off of Buick Envisions. You can test drive both and save big today at Richard Carr. And the ultimate gift this Christmas is a Cadillac. You can save $3,000 and get 0% financing for 72 months on most Cadillacs in stock, including the XT4, XT5, and XT6. Let Richard Carr bring the Cadillac experience to you with test drives at your home or office. And at Richard Carr, they love their healthcare workers, military, and first responders. Right now, all of these valuable community heroes get GM supplier pricing on all cars in stock, and for every car or truck sold now, Richard Carr will donate a new bike to Toys for Tots Waco, so you'll get yourself a great deal while also giving a deserving kid a bike this Christmas. It's the holiday sales event at Richard Carr. Get there now. Go to richardcarr.com. Thousands in savings, or they can bring the test drive to you. Save big. The holiday sales event at Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac.
Christmas time is Jeep time at Allen Samuels. It's the big finish event, and the world's most awarded SUV has 0%, no payments for 90 days, and employee pricing for all on select models. Save thousands on the rugged Renegade and new 2020 Grand Cherokees. Even new 2021 Jeep Cherokees are included. 0%, no payments for 90 days. Employee pricing for all. Happy holidays from Allen Samuels.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
What you do in privacy is your own business. What you do in public with your truck, well, that's our business at Pickup Outfitters. In your garage, it's okay for your truck to parade around in the nude with no accessories. Hey, this is still America. But when you bring your truck out in public, it's just common decency to put an outfit on your truck. And that's where we come in at Pickup Outfitters. Put a cover on that bed. Cover your rear end with a bumper and a hitch, for goodness sakes. There are women and children on the roads. And guys, don't leave your tools exposed. Put them in a toolbox. Be proud of your truck and stand tall with a lift kit. Or improve your truck's posture with a leveling kit. Add some class to your pickup with new wheels and tires. Or dress up for a date with your new RV or boat with a fifth wheel or a receiver hitch. At Pickup Outfitters, we're dedicating to making the roads decent for all Central Texans. So when taking your truck out in public, remember your manners and accessorize it properly with an outfit from Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Nitsche Group Insurance Agency. With the Nitsche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Nitsche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Nitsche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
Welcome back to Sic'Em365 Radio. The Central Texas Players of the Week is brought to you by Bird Culchin Ford.
I hope if you didn't get a chance to hear Dave Aranda, there's many things, and one of the nuggets in that was my question about Charlie Brewer and Larry Fedora and a circle and a square. And I hope you have a chance to listen to it if you can. Secondly, when I asked him about a bowl game, which I mentioned a little bit at the start, if in fact they were to get fortunate, and again, I don't know if it'd be fortunate, if whatever reason there was an opening, which there won't be, but if there is, even at 2-7 or 3-6, would they go to a bowl game? And he said no. Basically said no. This team is tired. They're flat out just exhausted. And I think the depth issues, and yes, you both mentioned this, man, if they would have extended even longer past the 19th, who knows, of the people who might be leaving or not. And that question was asked of him as well.
Well, I think we'll see by early next week.
Yeah,
guys already proclaiming if they're going to the NFL or if
it's going to be free for all. And the NCAA for all of our lives has said there's no there's rule or there's a protocol. Well, now they've said those rules are different.
All right, high school football players of the week that Craig and I voted for this week.
Sorry.
Rodrell Freeman did it again. 311 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns, 85 yards passing in a win against Tenaha, 54-23. That's who Craig voted for. I had him on my top, whatever it is, as did Craig, with Rashawn Sanford, running back at Harker Heights, 37 carries, 333 yards, and 2 touchdowns in a win against Belton. Rodrell wins the vote by 1. So he's the offensive player of the week. On defense, Harker Heights defensive lineman Christian Wooden had 7 tackles, 3 sacks, and 3 additional quarterback pressures in their win against Belton to become a playoff team. And Malcolm Murphy and Bryson Washington both returned punts. Murphy's was longer, 60. Washington's was 45, so that's the difference there. Couple of notes in high school football.
All right.
Crawford, hold on. I'm sorry. Crawford had an 11-minute drive in their win against Bosqueville, Paul.
If I get a little more, I just love it when they
88 yards, 11 minutes off the clock. Jordan Jenkins, 40 carries, 269, and 7 touchdowns in a win against Kilgore.
I really like Clint Sander a lot. I just picture him during that 11-minute drive, just stomach churning.
Huntsville's Mike Spradlin finished the regular season undefeated. Not Mike Spradlin. Rodney Southern. Spradlin's up north. Rodney Southern, who was at Belton and at Marshall, once an assistant at Coppers Cove, is unbeaten regular season at Huntsville.
Either way, I would have loved that news. Both those guys are great.
Yep. Craig, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. Well, you mentioned Lindale and Jordan Jenkins. They beat Kilgore. He had a huge game. How about China Springs? Fun season comes to an end, kind of like we expected it to, but 52-14, they fall to the Carthage Bulldogs.
That's, listen, what Brian Bell and the Cougars did to get into the position was fantastic with the wins they had. That's men among boys right there. With all due respect, China Spring with Bowden and Abdallah and whoever else, but man, that's a machine. And they were great in Division I, and they're even as good now, if not better this year. Their defense is phenomenal.
Franklin took down Buffalo 56-33, and we knew that was going to be a pretty good game. I expected it to be a pretty good game, but no trouble for Franklin.
Franklin gets a setup. Who do they play now? They have Wascom. They played them in a state championship game back in 2015 when La Vega won it, and down at NRG in Houston. Brett Hoffman, the quarterback at Buffalo, set basically every single passing record that's ever been allowed to be a record at Buffalo High School. That used to be a team that put up huge yards rushing. And congratulations, Brandon Houston, a nice run, but that ends against what is Mark Fannon's first year as head coach at Franklin. They're in the semifinals.
Yeah, this was one of the bigger statewide scores. Art Browse and Mount Vernon 37, Malakoff 34.
I'm surprised by that. I know that Art Browse is a phenomenal football coach, and it's like, Paul, you made this suggestion even last week or over the weekend when I put the score up. Imagine you're a kid, you've won District 18 4A 3 years in a row, and you're looking across to the field, a guy won 2 Big 12 championships and was in the college football playoff discussion.
Yeah, it's not.
Malakoff is really good, and so that's an incredible win for Coach Browse at Mount Vernon.
Yeah, it's different. And look, Art, and the thing is like, you can only do with what your talent, your talent has to dictate that, but he's going to get the most out of his talent. He's always done that his whole career. He's going to get the most, and that's what you have to worry about is like, I might have a team that's a little bit better than him, but if I can't get the most out of my guys, I know he's going to get the most out of his.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
All right, elsewhere. You mentioned Crawford, 48-0 over Bosqueville. Mart, 54, Tenaha, 23.
Yeah, they have too much. They've played Falls Cities before. As Falls City has the coach that led them to a state championship in the last decade, and so that'll be interesting. But Mart, it's a different level, and they're on their way to, I think, what will be 4 consecutive state titles.
Yep, this was
not breaking news, by the way, either.
No, not part of our area, but part of the Pick'ems in one of the bigger games last week. Shiner 24, Refugio 13.
Yeah, that
was one we were split on.
Last week when we did pick them, I mentioned that really Refugio's kind of had the edge over Shiner.
I picked against Beer, and it,
well, that's stupid. I picked Refugio because that game, Refugio's had the edge, and Craig gave us that score like during the day on Friday, right? When we were doing a show, 24-13 or whatever it was. That's a great win for Shiner. Good luck to them. I love the way they play. I love the way they play offense. They will run the football down your throat, just like the private school in St. Paul in their opportunity coming up against Riker, the game we have on Saturday.
Just a couple more here. May 92, Blum 86 in overtime. Sounded like it was one heck of a thrilling game between those two teams.
Crazy.
Richland Springs able to defeat Strawn 59-56.
Strawn had the ball, I think, inside their 5 late in the game.
That's a tough way to lose. And then a couple of private school notes to pass along. Live Oak season comes to an end, 60-44. They fall to Dallas Lake Hill Prep. And, of course, Riker Catholic playing for a state championship on Saturday after the game we called out in, where were we? Italy?
Italy.
Yeah.
Italy.
Saturday was a fuzzy day for me.
If you have not been to that new football stadium, it is fantastic for Italy, the size of that school district. There's some games that should be played there more often. We had a great time doing the game.
I was kind of like when you drive
Rikers'
up on
defense was amazing.
When you drive up on it out of town, like when you're in town, it's just kind of like, whoa.
Whoa.
Hey.
Yep, so 34-10 over First Baptist, and they're playing for state this Saturday.
Crawford and Post, a game that we'll feature again later in the week. Post is allowed 53 points. 2 games were wins, 1-0 shutouts. They have 11 of their 14 games. They've allowed 7 points or less. The Antelopes, by the way, one of the great names. Their 14 points they allowed to total in a 70-14 win. Crawford has only allowed 110. And both teams have been a part of a couple of forfeits. Crawford had their only loss was a forfeit. 7 of their 12, they've allowed 8 points or less. They both can score, but both of them defensively are really good.
Okay, Baylor is going to have a game, men's basketball will have a game on Wednesday at 7 against TBA.
Oh, TBA, they're really good.
You know, last year they were 30-1.
Yeah, TBA, but they are going to play. So clearly I think that means they're probably down to a couple people, and whoever can get here the fastest.
Yeah.
Wins the right to lose to Baylor by 20.
Yeah,
well,
probably.
You know, yeah, that'll be interesting. I know there were some teams that did contact before they went to Indianapolis when they had the games, the ones in, where were they? In Bristol. Is that, no, where were they? Is that, where were they playing that first?
Mohegan Sun, yeah.
Yeah, up in,
yeah.
I do know of a couple of schools from Texas that were very interested, and one of them could push them. But obviously Baylor is just so good. It's just Nicholls State, with all due respect to them, saying they can't play, and it was COVID related, no question, was kind of like what Gatesville and Carthage. You're like, okay, but it's serious. They had the issue, but at the same time, it's like, God, we got to drive all the way to Waco to get drilled by 35. On occasion, a Southland Conference team can test you, and we know that SFA and others have done that in the past. Paul, the UIL State Marching Band Contest coming up, not this weekend, but next.
Wouldn't go if it was playing in my eyelids. Would not.
Hey. I was in band.
Former Midway star, Jackson Player.
I don't like everything about you, Armstrong. I most things, but...
Okay.
12 tackles, 4.5 tackles for losses, and 2 sacks in their win as Tulsa continues to win. Congratulations to Jackson Player. We knew he would play no matter where he played. I would love to see him be playing defensive line at Baylor, but it's not the size that the rule in defense was looking for at that time.
Am I going to get a lot of crap for what I just did?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
You should.
Paul, the state band competition, marching band information, coming up December the 14th and 15th in San Antonio.
You already mentioned that. Paul said he wouldn't watch that if it was playing in his eyelids.
On his eyelids.
On his eyelids.
The back of my eyelids.
All right, coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, we'll hear from former Baylor defensive coordinator. I bet Phil Bennett watched Baylor's defense Saturday night and loved it. That plus we'll have the Kim Mulkey comment. We'll do that in the 5 o'clock hour. And Brian Davis of the Austin American Statesman on what's going on with all sorts of stories in Austin. COVID, Tom Herman, Urban Meyer said no. Are you allowed to do that to UT? Was it ever even serious? This is Sic'Em365 Radio. Who do I have here, Paul?
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
I added up.
Ideal.
IdealMRI.com. I mentioned them earlier. That's why. Because on average, an MRI can cost you $1,100. So that's on average. At IdealMRI.com in the Central Texas Marketplace in Waco off I-35 and right there on the Access Road in the Central Texas Marketplace. If an MRI on average costs $1,100, that means there's some that may cost $2,000, $2,500, whatever the cost might be. Theirs, every single time, is $497 or less. And they can help you with what you need when it comes to insurance. And if you even need maybe help with the payment plan, they can help you with that as well. IdealMRI.com is there to help, not only help you save money, that's very critical, but also to make sure your experience is really, really comfortable. And I went there back in late March. I had an MRI on my left shoulder. I kind of knew what it was, and that's exactly what I found out. After I went through the process of getting the appointment was no big deal. Getting there, checking in, it was flawless. And the specialists in techs, from the time I went into the secondary room to get prepped to get into the MRI machine, it was just fantastic. They made me feel so comfortable. And an MRI can sometimes be uncomfortable for, maybe you don't like to be in tight places, tight spaces. I like, man, let's do it again. No, not really, but it was that comfortable. And then I got a call from Dr. Rob Maxey at Ideal MRI, and you know what he told me? Smokey, this is what we see. I will also send you a copy of this so you can send it to your doctor, and that's Dr. David Haynes at Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. It's a fantastic company. The MRI machine, state-of-the-art technology, and you get as good a look as you'll get anywhere, but the price is $497 or less at idealmri.com.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom-ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Sic'Em365 Radio.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Tom Albers, staying in touch with you and your money through these difficult and changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
TJ Pledger is joined Ramon Stevenson. Look at that pressure. And down goes Rattler again. And Josh Landry, 92, coming in there to make the play.
segment with former Baylor defensive coordinator Phil Bennett is sponsored by the Nitschke Group Insurance Company, where clients are more than just a policy number. See why thousands of Texans trust the Nitschke Group with their home, auto, benefits, and commercial insurance coverage. Call their Waco office to speak with an expert at 254-420-3900 or visit them online at tngins.com. Now, here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All right, here we go. This 5 o'clock hour, we'll hear from Brian Davis on what is going on with the various stories in Austin, Texas. Phil Bennett, former Baylor defensive coordinator, great friend of the show, and a segment that gets as much, if not more, response than anything we do. Joined us on Sic'Em365 Radio. I would think sitting back watching what Dave Aranda and Ron Roberts did defensively against Oklahoma made you sit back and maybe even sip on a bourbon or something, scotch or something.
You know, I want to tell you something. They did an outstanding job, and one of the things, coach, as a coach, you look at things. I think it's the best first down defense we played all year. We made them predictable, and it was really good football, and we made Rattler uncomfortable, and the kids tackled well. Obviously on third down it became huge, but first down was good, and I thought we were better on first down on offense also. But yes, it was a really good game plan, and it was a game that with just a little bit of luck, Smoke, we would have. It could have been a heck of a finish.
Yeah, Phil. When the offense, you've been on either side of this as a coach in your time. When one unit for a half is kind of carrying it and doing that, how tough is that to kind of navigate when you just need like a couple of those breaks and the defense has to keep kind of going back out there and trying to get them for you?
Well, it's that mindset, which I know they're teaching and working on. You do your job, and if you do your job, eventually, if things aren't going your way, I can remember a game that was similar in 2013 when we played Texas for the championship. I think it was 6-3 at halftime, and we had struggled. I mean, we had struggled offensively, and in the past we had speedboated those guys. And I just kept telling the kids, just hang on and we'll get it. And then I think the final score was 38 or 30-something to 3. And that's what I thought. Now, what happened, if you guys remember, during that span there, we get a pick, and as good as it was, we end up losing field position. And they get the ball, I think, at our 31-yard line, and then the next time they get the ball, they got it on the 50. And that field position battle really stresses what you do defensively.
Yeah, that's a great point. Oklahoma was definitely just kind of the table was set for them for a large portion of that game. And, Phil, I don't know how much you've been able to focus in on individual guys, but have you been able to take note of Abram Smith, who's come in to replace Terrell Bernard, a former running back?
Yeah, he has played his butt off. I want to tell you something. That I thought, it reminded me of a better tackling Iowa State game. Now, I will say this, and I would like y'all's opinion. And David, you and I have talked about this. Oklahoma doesn't have the horses they've had.
No.
One of their coaches told me before the game. He said, "We're a shell of what you remember seeing." And he said, "We have no." We have no explosion guys, to the tune of like Lamb or the little kid Shepherd that they used to have, and the kid from here in Texas. I can't remember. He's playing for Jacksonville, but
Westbrook.
They've still, they've got good players and playing there. And when you're 28-point favorite underdog, I thought our guys really. And I thought offensively, we started doing some things Oklahoma's gotten a little bit better on defense, but the field position hurt us. And I was thinking if we could have held them the one time, if you guys remember this, I'm sitting there with my wife and it's 3rd and 8, and at the 8-yard line, 3rd and goal at the 8. If we could have held them to a field goal right there, then I said this finish will be a barn burner. And that one of the few times they were able to make the play.
How do you, if you're Dave Aranda and the staff, yes, they still have warts, special teams, they didn't make the kicks that would have helped as well, like the West Virginia game. Obviously, offensively, they cannot run the ball, and there is protection. And then at times, Charlie Brewer not able to make things happen. How do you build on that? There's just one game left. So it's not like you have 5 to go, but they seem, and there's no moral victories, but they do seem to they're getting tighter and better. Is that true?
There's no doubt. Anybody that follows this team and I get, because I'm doing this show, I get people out of the blue. I don't know how they get my number. Text and what's interesting is I've said this all along. I cannot imagine what these coaches and these players have gone through this season at Baylor. With everything, the way it started, no spring training, and people say, should Fedora be fired or this guy? Absolutely not. Listen, this is a season. I would say this. This is truly, for the first time in my 40-plus, almost 50 years involved in a player of college football, this is a free year. This is a year you can truly learn on and come back and you get a redo. And that's the way I see it. And anybody else that doesn't really hadn't looked at this whole picture.
Phil, when you look at the offensive line and the struggles they have, like when I watch, I see, they are getting beat physically sometimes, but sometimes it's just constant mental mistakes and they're stepping the wrong way and they haven't quite grasped it. Is that even harder to deal with a coach when you're at this point in the season and look, they're just not getting beat. They're going the wrong way and getting free shots on the quarterback.
Well, repetition, Paul, is the key to success. Good repetition, doing it right repetition. It's ironic. I'm sitting here today counseling my 31-year-old son who's coaching the offensive line at Hawaii. Gave up a sack last week at a crucial time. And he said, Dad, we had worked this one twist. We had worked this. And my answer to him is just like I would tell anybody else. You didn't work it enough, obviously. And techniques are trained techniques. Offensive linemen, and I don't mean this bad, but they're trained like rope. I mean, their steps, their pad level, their vision, everything. It has got to be, in order. And I go back to what I said. We've had an abundance of ins and outs with the offensive line, and I will agree. There's times, different looks, the time to prep. There's going to be mistakes, but I didn't think the offensive line kept us from winning that game Saturday.
Phil, from a defensive standpoint, as they now head into this last game, they're not going to play in a bowl game, so it's going to be straight into the offseason, and they'll have another week of practices after Saturday because of the rules in place. But is there anything glaring or just anything that stands out to you when you watch this defense that you go like, hey, that is an area where maybe they need more talent or maybe they need to tweak a little thing? Is there anything like that that stands out to you from watching Baylor defensively this season?
Well, first of all, Dave has got them lined up well. And their alignment is their balance. The kids, the thing obviously you always want, if you could get an edge rusher, I think the inside they've got some push. You would like to be anytime you can get pressure with 4 instead of having to blitz, and you can keep. Let's face it, they've got 5 eligible receivers. You've got 7 defenders. If you rush 4. Then that really helps you as a football team. I don't know exactly where our sack total is, but we could be better, as a 4-man rush team.
It's interesting because who recruited Jalen Petrie? Who was it on your staff who went after Jalen Petrie?
Actually, there was, Jalen was we signed him on defense.
Right.
It was us. Casey Horney.
Okay.
Loved Jaylee. Casey was my analyst, and he kept showing me these video. He said, this guy is made. Honest to God truth, he said, he's made to be our bear. And if you remember right, he ended up getting hurt first or second game of his senior year. And we told him we were sick with him. And the guy that went to A&M, give me his name. He really hadn't played as well at A&M. They were teammates, and he was Jones, Heck Jones,
Hezekiah Jones, yeah.
And we saw Petrie. Casey brought him to me. I liked him. Jim Gush liked him, and we signed him actually over summer camp.
Yeah,
he's a football player.
Yeah, he is. Was he the one, or was it Morgan, Craig, on the blitz that came from the corner? It might have been Morgan, but I'm telling you, man, Jalen.
No, it was him. It was Jalen. I mean,
what were your thoughts, Phil? That when everyone left after the year of hell in 2016, when he decided he was going to stay at Baylor, what did you ever have conversations with him?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely. You know, I knew that I wouldn't be there, and I told him. I said, "You're smart." I said, "You've got it's great school." I said, "The program, they'll hire a good coach." And I said, and once again, you know, he had knee surgery, and I said, "Protect yourself and get in." He was, you know, his makeup, Smokey, is different. I mean, he's a mature kid. I mean, he knew he has had a plan the whole time since he's been in high school to Baylor, and he's executing that plan right now. And it's fun to see a guy like that to succeed. He has what I used to tell the coaches, you know, he has that it. And if you have to discuss it, you don't have it. You never had to discuss it with him.
Phil, another week and like Tom Herman just had his best week maybe ever on offense at Texas, where he fed the ball to the running back and really took a lot of pressure off of Sam Ehlinger, and they had a huge game, but the bell might be tolling for him at Texas. What would you tell a coach who is interested in that job about the pressure that comes with it, and if you'll get a fair shake or not?
Well, you know, first of all, Paul, I think Tom Herman's had a hell of a fair shake. You know, it's like any job you take. It's what you make it. And if you want it to be if it wears you out, I mean, you've got to have a balance. And I think Texas is a great football program, one of the top 5 programs in the history of college football. They have had, and I've said this before, they have hired some people that, in my mind, were not qualified to lead a program of that stature. And I think they also undervalued what Mac Brown always gave them. You know, whoever goes to Texas has to be able to manage all aspects of the program: recruiting, the coaches, the speaking, the Longhorn Network. And he's got to have his finger on all those aspects. And I don't mean dictator-like, but he's got to know what, and he's also got to be a guy that's comfortable within his skin. Let's face it, they haven't had any pro talent to say are great players over the last 4 or 5 since Matt's been gone. They just haven't recruited and developed guys to the level that they're used to. And that falls on the people coaching and recruiting them.
Between the top 4 teams, Coach, Bama, Notre Dame, Clemson, Ohio State, who has impressed you most this season?
Oh, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sarkisian has done an unbelievable job with that quarterback and the receivers and the running back and what he's done. You know, I was the defensive coordinator years ago when he and Lane Kiffin were with Carroll. I think it was, you might help me on this year, Smokey. It was like 2000, 2001. We opened the season at USC against them in the Coliseum, and Stark was calling the plays, and they had the quarterback that played so long for the Cardinals. What was it? Not Leinart. Carson Palmer.
Carson Palmer, yeah.
They won 11 games there. I mean, they were a good football team. And I went out there, and I had, I think, 10 of my 11 guys played in the NFL, started. And it was a battle royal. They had Cravens. I mean, they had these, I forgot the receiver and the running back, but we beat them 10-6. We got a sack fumble on Carson late in the game to stop it. But I still remember, I told Coach Snyder after the game, I said, I don't know who that guy is. I knew who he was because he had been at BYU. I said, but what a heck of he had a feel for the game. And I think he's got his life in order. And some of these programs looking for a head coach should be looking at him.
Yeah, and it's good to see, because with Saban battling COVID a couple of different times, there was a thought he might have to be an interim coach, and he ended up being the interim coach eventually. And, yeah, that Mac Jones, I always thought he would be more of a workman. Like, he would be more like Greg McElroy or someone like that. He's turned out to be.
Well, he and Kyle Trask are the top two candidates for the Heisman right now.
Ahead of Justin Fields?
They should be.
Yeah.
I've watched both of them. I was into the game. Everybody on that staff. I know you're going to form some opinion until we get Demick's over, you get a spring training, and you go those techniques over and over again, then do your evaluation.
I asked him about him if it was because he's more comfortable in his role, and that's part of it. He also said there's too many Red Bulls available on the sideline. But he also said that he's starting to, he's got so bit an issue, as you mentioned, and when he sees the light coming on with some of them, that gets him. Yeah.
Listen, there's no doubt. And let's face it, guys, every man in America thinks he can do two things. Grill and coach. and I'm just telling you, I used to laugh, and you've heard me say this, Mo. I'm never worried about people who didn't know what they didn't know.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Don't worry about it. You know what? If somebody said something about me when I was at best, they had no clue the value of what I did or what this guy did. So I don't worry about it. Now, if you say it to my face, it's going to be a different matter.
Love it. Every week, Paul.
Yeah. I was going to ask, we've talked earlier in the show about this offseason. You mentioned the free year, the 0 year. It's going to be a free-for-all when it comes to transfers, Phil. What is a staff going to have to do to balance out recruiting high school guys plus that transfer portal, which is going to be like Sam's Club?
Well, first of all, the NCAA should be ashamed of themselves. They have created a monster. This BS about I'm opting out, look, I'm going to say it. That's bullshit. There ain't no opting out. They're quitting. They're quitting on their team. I could not right now. If somebody told me, unless it was for injury, COVID had nothing to do with these opt-outs or quitting. They quit. The NCAA should be ashamed of themselves for what they've allowed. The portal, the whole thing. Everything about commitment is gone down the drain. So I don't know how these coaches are going to handle it, but you're so right, Paul. It's going to be just absolutely chaos. Mm-hmm. And you get into a situation where you've got to have your roster set by summer school or next semester. It will go all the way to summer. So I just can't believe that and I saw recently, I wouldn't be surprised if a year from now football will not be in the NCAA. I would be all for that because the people there, it's outgrown, it's outdated, and they need to create something different.
Yeah, they need a football czar. And I think I know someone we might
nominate. A few different people that would be great at that, actually.
Yeah,
but
the transfer portal to me is going to be an absolute nightmare. And I asked Dave that today as well. Are you going to have to almost recruit your own players as much as you do a new class that signs in 2 weeks? And
it's really, and I don't want to get political, but it's pretty much a sign of our time. If you're not happy and and you're not feeling it, I'm going to leave. I'm going to quit.
Yep.
I mean, when are we going to get over that? I mean, one of the things that I loved about my time at Baylor is we had tough guys. I mentioned, Orion Stewart. I could get on him, and I mentioned I loved him. I knew he was never going to quit. He was never leaving Baylor. Lasagna, his mom was not going to let him. She had given me free reign. You don't have that anymore.
God, that's great. And he was so fantastic when we had him on last week. I love that, man. Thank you very much, Phil. Go ahead.
All right, guys.
Hey, thank you. Greatness possibly. I'm telling you right now, we don't self-promote enough sometimes because sometimes you feel weird doing that. If you don't listen to Dave Aranda, not because I did it, but some of what we discussed in that one-on-one, and listen to Bennett, then you're missing out. I'm just telling you. Because Dave Aranda probably have more golden nuggets in that one-on-one this week on many issues than anything maybe combined in the last 12 weeks.
Was there just a ton of clarity? There's a ton of clarity. Like, I would
huge
say clarity on a lot of things.
On Brewer and Fedora.
Well, now's
on the bowl game.
And now's the time to talk about it. He probably could have, but now's the time to talk about it.
When we come back, Brian Davis, you talk about clarity. Is there enough or any in Austin with the University of Texas? Tom Herman, COVID, KU, and much more. That's next on Sic'Em365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine. Look, it is the holiday season, and if you were looking to get a gift for someone, they've got something special there. Christmas special from Balcones and the Waco Whiskey Club. It's a collaboration between the three of them, the Chapman family and Riverbend Liquor, Balcones, and the Waco Whiskey Club. A special barrel, 5-year aged single malt scotch or whiskey. Sorry, it's not scotch unless it's Scotland. I keep saying that. But it's there. It's fantastic. They've tried it. Steve Chapman told me it's really an amazing barrel of whiskey. They're going to have the opportunity. They're selling it exclusively at Riverbend Liquor and Wine. So call over there, make your reservations, check their website, all those things, Instagram, Facebook, they've got it all. And look, if you're just looking for something for, a gathering or just the weekend or whatever, if you need spirits, if you need wine, if you need craft beer, they've got a great selection of all of it and the best selection of craft beer in Central Texas, Riverbend Liquor and Wine. Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street. Again, check them out on Facebook and Instagram.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Nitsche Group Insurance Agency. With the Nitsche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Nitsche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Nitsche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
When it comes to hauling the family and hauling cargo, see Alan Samuels. Get the king of minivans, the award-winning Chrysler Pacifica, or America's lowest price third-row crossover, Dodge Journey. During the Big Finish event, get 0%, no payments for 90 days, and employee pricing for all on Pacifica. It's minivan first class. And get employee pricing for all on new 2020 Dodge Journeys. Happy holidays from your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jeweler, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back to Sic'Em365 Radio.
Log on to the Willis Law Firm chat room on Sic'Em365.com.
Well, I don't know how you follow up with Phil Bennett and the gold that he gave us for nearly 20 minutes or so. But we will with Brian Davis, the Austin American statesman, because my goodness, what's going on in Austin is crazy cray as well. Brian, thanks for your time on Sic'Em365 Radio. So Tom Herman doesn't do his regular presser today because of the COVID issue, but he did, I guess, the Big 12 teleconference. Where is he, and did Urban Meyer actually say no, or was he ever even offered the job?
Let's just dive right in. I love it. I love it. That's so awesome. Was he offered the job? No. I don't think he ever was, because I don't think it ever got that far. From my discussions with Texas decision makers, I really don't think it ever got past the step of, do you want to do this? Well, I don't know. My health is a major issue. Well, tell us about that. I just don't think it got any farther than that, because look, Texas is in a situation where if Urban Meyer said yes, I'm telling you, they would have paved the streets of anything would have been bulldozed out of the way to make way for Urban Meyer. And I really don't think that there was talk of a $12 million contract, $10 million. Look, I don't think money was going to stop them on this. Money wasn't going to be an issue. This was a health issue as far as Urban Meyer goes.
Okay, so what's Plan B?
Well, did I tell you it's basketball season? Yeah. I mean, everyone's excited here.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Yeah.
I think that there is no Plan B, in the fact of there's not someone out there who can move the needle, obviously as well as Urban Meyer can. There's just not. Chris O'Connell really likes James Franklin, but he's 2-5. I think that's Penn State's record this year. Dan Mullen is another guy that a lot of people here have been talking about, but he's not leaving Florida. No way Scott Strickland lets his coach get away to come to Texas for what I think would be a lateral move at best, right? And there's just no one else. What about the guy at Oregon? Well, they've now lost a couple of games in a row, and the shine's off him. So I really do think that Texas's best option is to hold their water and stand pat. Tom Herman's greatest sin, if you want to call it that, is that he's just, made fans angry because he's 1-4 against Oklahoma, and he does some crazy things on the sideline, right? I mean, this fan base doesn't like him as a person, and there are a lot of reasons why. I think those are things that they can get past. but 9-10 against ranked opponents, 1-4 against Oklahoma, 0-4 against TCU and Iowa State the last 2 years. I mean, look, the guy's not winning enough football games, period, full stop.
Brian, have you seen this team get better? I mean, I know Saturday was kind of an extravaganza of all that's, what people wanted to see, Bijan Robinson going off and things like that. Is this team getting better? Have they gotten better in your opinion?
I definitely think the defense has gotten a lot better. I really do. Chris Ash taking over this unit, switching to a 4-man front, moving Joe Osai down to that outside defensive end as a rush-in position. Yeah, I definitely think that the defense overall has gotten steadily better week in and week out. Now that said, Deuce Vaughn had some fantastic runs Saturday. Deuce Vaughn, from an individual standpoint, did really good. But overall, the run defense has been solid overall the back half of the season. The offense, I don't know. It comes and goes, in my opinion. Sam has had a couple of games where he's been in the 50s and from a percentage completion rate. So how much of that is Sam? How much of that is the offense? They don't have super talented, game breakers out wide, in my opinion. But they have some really young guys that I like, Jordan Whittington, Jake Smith. And Bijan, I think, is a star. I think he's a star in the making.
Brian, I got to ask you this question. There are times when other programs have had coaches, and I'll just be blunt about it. Baylor and Art Briles, you know the story, the scandal and all that was going on. And there were columns written, and there were websites that were involved, and there was all sorts of, this guy must go, he's an evil human being. And yet, I did not see one single mention during the lust of Urban Meyer, or did I miss something where anyone brought up some of his background issues?
That was glossed over. It really was. In fact, I had someone, in the tower ask me, well, you guys would be right about all those arrests. And I said, oh, you mean the 31 arrests in Florida? You mean those arrests? You mean Zach Smith issue, all these things that happened at Ohio State? Those things would have definitely been in the mix had Urban Meyer gotten serious. But I also feel like that there was a sense already among the Texas folks that, we're not gonna litigate the past. And, if it happens here, then we'll deal with it. But, look, everybody turns their head the other way when they want to win. How bad do you want to win? That's really what it all boils down to.
Yeah, I appreciate the honesty on that. I really do.
That's the most honest answer. That's what it is.
It's
Everybody's
exactly
a hypocrite when it comes to winning.
Yeah, because they've lost traction for a decade. They had the Sugar Bowl team, and that's it. Really, it's been a tough run. We're back. Well, we're really back. So come on. I think, which by the way, I don't know if you guys heard this, or I don't know if this made it to Waco, but Sam told us, he says, if he could do that moment over again, I probably wouldn't have said it.
Yeah.
But it's true. So you're right. This has been a decade of just complete mediocrity, and that is why everyone here is so frustrated. That is why Urban Meyer was so sexy. It's like, hey, here's a chance to, snap your fingers and automatically, we're back in the race. We're back in the CFP. So they think, right? Mm-hmm. And, Tom Herman, I think, is a good football coach. If he was let go today, I think he would be snapped up fairly quickly, right? He has, by beating Kansas State, they have just locked in their fourth straight winning season, right? 4 years ago, the idea of Texas having 3 straight losing seasons was simply unbelievable, right? Mm-hmm. Well, now Texas is back to the situation where a winning season, that's just blah. It's not good enough. Well, I agree that he should be doing more. I'm the first one to admit that Tom Herman should be doing more, but at the same time, it's not like this thing is a complete disaster either.
Right.
Yeah, Brian, you mentioned about the coaches that would move the needle. And again, if they keep Tom Herman and say we're back here, 365 days from now having the same conversation, is maybe Texas's problem that they're trying to go for Ginger and not Marianne? Like maybe Marianne's going to be there and help build your program. Ginger looks great and she's a movie star, but there's not much to Ginger.
Yeah, Ginger's an airhead, no doubt about it. I think. Okay, let's back up for a second. I have floated down here mainly because I want to gauge people's reactions. Is that okay? You don't like Thomas? Why not Matt Campbell? Right?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, people here turn up their nose at that. and I'm like, now wait a minute. All I've heard for 4 years is that, we got out-coached again. Okay, well, why doesn't Texas go hire the guy who's doing the out-coaching?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Why not hire Matt Rule?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's another name that was floated that I thought that would be a great hire. I'm telling you, major boosters would turn their nose up at Matt Rule, right? It's unbelievable. But and Matt Campbell, real quick, to finish that point. I mean, here's a guy who has done nothing but generate success in Ames, freaking Iowa, right? I mean, is he going to win the Big 12 title? I don't know. That's going to be a hell of a game coming up at Jerry World, no doubt. But the fact that the state of Iowa produces about a dozen D1 recruits a year, maybe that, right? And to do what he's doing in Ames is just incredible. He's going to get snapped up eventually, whether it's Michigan, name any other big school in the Midwest or wherever. And I'm like, why not him? Well, he's not sexy enough. So, well, all right, fine.
You know what's sexy? You know what's sexy? Being in the college football playoff year in and year out. And that's sexy.
Absolutely.
That's crazy. Hey, Brian, anything else for Brian, Craig?
I mean, the only thing I'm just curious about is how Herman handles this, but I guess he has no choice. He just has to handle it the way he's got to handle it. And if he's back next year, I just think it's obviously, Brian, the seeds are planted where it's not going to be rosy cozy unless they go undefeated. Like there's going to be remaining, issues or I don't know, just not a lack of consistency across the athletic department when it comes to the vision of Tom Herman if he comes back next year. Do you see that being problematic for him in any way?
I think if he could get out of the gate and, they've got Arkansas, early next year in game 2. You get out of the gate 3-0, you win some games early, and people will forget about all this other stuff. I think the real problem here that people aren't talking about yet is that I think this is going to be a strike on Chris Del Conte. Because the whole thing was, oh my God, Urban Meyer. Oh, wait a minute, Urban Meyer's not coming. Wait a minute, Chris, how'd you screw this up? Right? That's how Texas fans think, right? And so whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, Chris Del Conte has got to get in the mix here, and he's got to either stand by his man or make a move and make something big happen.
Ryan, great segment. I thought maybe today we could throw a couple of fastballs up and in on you with some of these topics, and you answered them as usual like a pro. And great insight and honesty. We appreciate you very much. It's great to have you back on with us.
Absolutely, guys. Big game on Sunday. Big game on Sunday, too.
Yeah, Baylor might play a game tomorrow. Is it, Paul, Wednesday?
Wednesday now.
Against a term.
TBA. You watch out for TBA, guys.
Yeah. All right, Brian, thank you very much. And that is, and we didn't even get to the men's basketball game on Sunday because there's so much other to discuss. That's unbelievable. All right, we have another break, Paul? One more?
Yeah, there's one more.
Okay, I know we've been running late.
It's probably a situation where we could have asked about hoops for sure. That's going to be a major game on Sunday. And I think the good news now is you're starting to get into Big 12 play. So I would think, just based on what we've seen with football, that would mean that you're probably not going to have to deal with as many cancellations moving forward, which will be nice, given the news so far to start the season. There obviously will probably still be some to some extent, but I think everybody can kind of not relax, but can feel a little bit better about moving forward once they get into conference play.
When we come back, we'll wrap it up with a couple of notes. Also, a couple of guests that we'll have on tomorrow that I think will be unique. That's next, Sic'Em365 Radio. Steelers lead the Redskins, the Washington Football Club, 14-3 at halftime. This is Sic'Em365 Radio.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel & Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel & Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel & Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new Lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Erie Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Sic'Em365 Radio.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Tom Albers, staying in touch with you and your money through these difficult and changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
All right, we have, let's try to do some rapid fire notes and nuggets. And also, do you have the Kim Mulkey comment? We'll have time for that, Paul, with after the post game. I think we might. We'll see what happens here. Paul, Craig?
Yeah, just a quick breaking college football news. Ole Miss A&M set for this weekend postponed due to positive tests, contact tracing, quarantine within Ole Miss program, rescheduling contingent on cancellation of December 19th games. Otherwise, it's not going to be played. That's A&M and Ole Miss.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to play. Obviously, that day normally they would not play, but that's a game they may need that extra game. Xavier Howard. I could just leave this on the desk, come back next Monday. 8 interceptions. He was ejected for fighting, though, in that game. The last player with 8 in a season for Miami, Sam Madison and Terrell Buckley.
T-Buck!
In 1998, a former Knoll great. Bill Belichick.
By the way, on Xavier, did you see the fight?
Yeah.
That was stupid.
Yeah, Bill Belichick. How in the world? The Patriots are now at 500, and they're playing really well. And I know that they're probably not enough to get to where they need to get. they beat the living. I know Chargers aren't very good, but they beat the hell out of them. Bill Belichick in his career now has won a game by 45 or more points 4 times. That ties Tom Landry for the most such wins by a head coach since the Super Bowl era began in 1966. That's from Ed Werder.
Well, he's been doing it a while now and been doing it at a really high level. So it's going to show you how close the NFL games really are. You don't have a lot of those blowouts like in college, but he has been a part of a few.
Tomorrow, Jackson Player, former Midway defensive lineman who had a monster game for Tulsa in their latest win, I think the 6th in a row, top 25. And David Robinson, D-Rob, who was the one that was almost a mentor, helping Dez and Emmanuel Sanders, Corey Coleman, among others. Some made it, some did not. Dez plays against Dallas tomorrow night. David Robinson, who was on the First Baptist Academy staff, will join us tomorrow as well, along with our regular guests.
By the way, we haven't talked about this yet, or if I missed it, I'm sorry, but Fred Akers apparently passed away at age 82.
I didn't see that, so there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, that's news to me.
Yeah, that's so. I've seen it on a bunch of different. It's trending. It was.
You know what's weird about that? Is I thought maybe he had. In the the tournament, the Chamber of Commerce, the Texas Sports Hall of Fame golf tournament. It was 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. Fred Akers was one of ours on a team. And he was as much of a gentleman. He had some really good teams at Texas. They could have won the national title, but they muffed the punt against Georgia. The same night Miami beat Nebraska. He was a gentleman now, and he was at Purdue for a little bit.
Let's get further confirmation because the original tweet is now deleted from the local TV news reporter. But I'm sure there's obviously something to it, and I'm seeing a lot of people tweeting about it.
And
now.
if it's not true, even then, but I stand by what I just said,
right.
As well. Let me see. Anything else, guys? There's a lot to get to, and we didn't get to all. Ebner, Sims, most likely not this week. Lovett, no. Quaylen Jones, hopeful.
Yeah, he was positive. He was feeling good about Quaylen Jones. And, again, let's reiterate, this is the last time we'll get to see this team play this year. Because Dave Aranda said it just
he basically said that,
this year's been too much of a gut punch to go to a bowl game. And I think while there might be 36 bowl game available, we're seeing some canceled, like the LA Bowl was supposed to come. It's out, Pinstripe Bowl out. There's a lot of them already decided. Bahamas Bowl's out. I would say that you'll get your New Year's 6 plus maybe 10 more, you think?
I think there'll probably end up being more than that, but there's not going to be the whole month of December filled up with games like we've typically seen.
There won't be 2 and 3 triple headers.
Yeah,
and stuff
4
like that.
in one day and things like that. But no, I initially thought this team needs to play as much as possible, but I totally agree with Dave Aranda. I mean, I think they've about reached the limits of their gas tank at this point, and I think they've got enough for one more in them. And then I think after that, everybody needs to take a real deep breath, relax a little bit, and then start to plan for next season. So I'm totally fine with that.
I'm going to say this one more time, and I hope you understand why. It's not to point at us. It's to point if you're a Baylor fan and you did not hear Dave Aranda from earlier today there are gold nuggets throughout on many of the things, and one of them is my question to him about Charlie Brewer, the player, the person, and followed it up with a question about Larry Fedora and what he's trying to do with Charlie Brewer and vice versa. I hope you have a chance to listen to that. The question about if they were somehow to slide into an invitation to play in a bowl game, he nuked that. But it's not that he said no, it's why he said no. And then also some things about he's more animated. Is he more animated? And is it because he's more comfortable? He had some great answers. Blame the equipment staff for too many Red Bulls. Matt Rule used to be the big the monster drinker. And oh, by the way, there are other parts of that. The offensive line and much more. I hope you have a chance to listen to it. And if that's not enough, just go listen to Phil Bennett for 25 minutes. God, is he unbelievable.
He's great.
He leads the league now in internet language.
Well, it doesn't matter.
I know. It's great. Craig, anything else from you?
No, I mean, I'm glad that Phil Bennett could openly curse on air and not have to even flinch at it. I think that's pretty awesome. But no, I also think a lot of what he had to say.
Baylor's latest COVID numbers are out, by the way.
Okay.
And
6 symptomatic cases, 1 asymptomatic cases for
that's
a total
little bit
of
up,
7.
right? That's about twice as much. And
get ready for that.
You got to be careful because that could flare up as well.
Well, I mean, that's going to flare up all over the country.
On the Lady Bears lost to Arkansas, one of the questions I asked Kim Mulkey was, you have some of these early in the year, almost yearly, on the road. And she discussed it. And she also made the comment about how this will be a learning moment. That was not I didn't like what I saw. But if I didn't like what I saw, what do you think Dee Dee Richards thinks or others? And I was stunned that Caitlin Bickle, with all due respect, was the one that was going to take the shot to try to tie the game. And that was the only option I guess they had because everything else was covered up. But they'll play again, and they start conference here very, very quickly as well. Much more on that and much more from everyone else. Mac Rhodes tomorrow, Jackson Player tomorrow, David Hellman tomorrow, high school coaches tomorrow, and we'll also hear from David Robinson on Dez and Dallas. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, thanks to Armstrong Sims and his pack of pit bulls.
Armstrong's Army, they're out there.
Armstrong's Army is like there. Arnie's Army.
Yeah.
We appreciate all of you, and Bigfoot, and T-Rex, and Matt, and obviously TJ, and so many of you that we don't have your names on the numbers who text us today. I'm David Smoke. Have a great evening on Sic'Em365 Radio.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online, pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T is board-certified physician consultations, will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here They're used to lights. They're used to water in their mouth. They're used to experience. They already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8-year-old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.